You couldn't ask for a better day for some clean old-fashioned hate here in Athens, GA. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, the Georgia Bulldogs. It's SEC Network football presented by Allstate. A showdown between two top 20 teams as they get it together for the 107th time going back to 1893. So glad you can be with us right here on the SEC Network. Dave Neal alongside my Heisman Trophy partner, Andre Ware. So glad you could join us. What a great matchup we have today. Certainly two teams playing very well right now. So many things you could talk about that are identical, including their records. But when it comes to running the football, few teams in the country do it as well as these two clubs do, but they do it differently.
Yeah, they do it in a manner of Georgia Tech. It's going to be the triple option attack where they come at you trying to get the edge, work the fullback through the middle of the formation. And then with Georgia, it's just flat out downhill football with Nick Chubb coming right into the teeth of the defense.
This Georgia Tech team will certainly use a bunch of guys to carry the football. You know this. Nick Chubb will have it in his hands a bunch today. Sony Michel, close to 100%. He'll be a factor in the run game as well. These two clubs have gone at this for a long time, but lately it's been all Georgia. They have won 4 straight and 12 of the last 13.
Yeah, both teams, Dave, can score a lot of points. They're in the top 15 in points scored and rushing yards per game across the nation. So a lot of runs in this one. Expect a good old-fashioned backyard brawl.
Georgia Tech wins the toss. They defer, so Georgia will have it first. Isaiah McKenzie takes a knee, and to the 25-yard line, the pigskin will go. That'll give us an opportunity to go down the sidelines, check in with the third member of our team. Her name is Laura Rutledge, and good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Dave. And Hudson Mason for Georgia has completed 68.4% of his passes this season. He's on pace to set the completion percentage record in a single season for Georgia. His offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo, currently holds that record. And Mark Richt said he's impressed with Mason's accuracy, but what he appreciates most about his quarterback is his ability to stay here at Georgia. He really appreciates that he's stuck it out in this day and age of instant gratification, Dave.
Well, they split Mason out to the right, and they run a little wildcat with Nick Chubb, and they come near side and pick up 6 yards on the play. So already some trickery, if you will, from this Georgia offense led by Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, talking to Mike Bobo, he said there'd be a few new wrinkles today, and already the first play of the game, Nick Chubb in the wildcat formation. As you mentioned, Hudson Mason split out wide, and progress already for Georgia in the running game. 2nd
down and 4. They'll fake it to the wide side, come back near side for Chubb. He's got room to midfield. He is to the 45. He is tripped up, or that could have been a really substantial gain. 24 yards on that pickup.
Watch the left guard here, number 54, Brandon Cublano, get out in front, as well as the big center, David Andrews, picking up some blocks down the field. They love the screen game.
Hurry up. Nick Chubb has 11 yards, another Georgia first down. Take a look at our impact players on this side of the football.
Yeah, John Theus, the left tackle, graded out the highest last week up front. Sony Michel going to give Nick Chubb a spell in this one. He'll be important. Keyshawn Freeman is a true freshman and a dynamic player. DJ White is a turnover machine in the back end of Georgia Tech secondary.
Yeah, this Georgia Tech defense has been stellar the last few weeks, but right now Georgia is slicing and dicing. Another gain of 13. Malcolm Mitchell on the reception for the Bulldogs. That'll be his 22nd catch of the year.
Yeah, they will do this to you where they get in a rhythm offensively and they want to play downhill. They want to play fast. You wouldn't think Georgia, being a running team and a pro-style offense, would turn the gear up like this in terms of tempo, but they are good at it when they're rolling.
From near side again, Mitchell. This time he is met at the 21-yard line by Jamal Golden. The safety, that'll be a loss of a yard.
When Golden had a super game a couple of weeks ago against Clemson, 85-yard interception for a touchdown. He leads the team in interceptions with 4. A good open field tackler. And he showed it there working against Malcolm Mitchell.
Georgia Tech plus 10 in the turnover department. They have prospered in that department. 16 interceptions as a team. Here's Chubb, cuts it to the outside. Chubb falls forward, close to another first down, and maybe good enough inside the 10.
Well, what a block by Jeb Blazevich, the tight end, coming around, and then Chubb showing the patience. He's a true freshman. waited the block out of Jeb Blazevich, and then it was just downhill and around the corner to pick up the first down.
Chubb working off guard will get a yard.
Yeah, look, let's go back and take a look at the previous play that picked up the first down. Watch the block of Blazevich coming around right there, 83. Watch him seal outside. That allows Chubb to get outside, up the field, and then get enough for the first down. Boy, this is one of the better young tight ends in the country. An off-season, a little weight gain. He is going to be a super player.
Georgia, pretty good numbers in terms of scoring touchdowns, 70% on the year in the red zone. And Chubb will take it inside the 5, give him 3 on that carry. So now you're looking at 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, if you're Georgia Tech here, you have experienced a flurry of punches in many different ways. Some to the body in the middle of the formation, some to the head on the outside edges. But you're hoping to play bend but don't break. Force the field goal attempt here by Georgia.
9th play of the drive coming up. Mason across the middle, pass is caught down to the 1-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 3 for the Bulldogs as Mitchell made the reception, and now it looks as though Mark Richt says, stay on the field, we're going for it.
Yeah, you got a back like Chubb in the backfield. Why not?
Hand off to Chubb, left side, touchdown, Georgia.
Tempo, tempo, and more tempo from the Georgia Bulldogs. And even on a 4th down and goal, they go tempo, quick snap, Georgia Tech out of position, and it's easy pickings for Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb with 6 carries on that drive, 36 yards and a touchdown. Boy, the Bulldogs with an explosive opening drive. 75 yards, capped off by the 12th rushing touchdown of the season by the true freshman Nick Chubb. A view from Uga's house here between the hedges in Sanford Stadium, as Georgia's opening drive was highly successful, Andre.
Yeah, they did a lot of mixing, a lot of runs. They mix in the screen game about once every 6 passes on the season. They'll mix in a screen. Then it was Nick Chubb working his way downfield. Good blocks up front by the offensive line. Here, Jeb Blazevich, the tight end, getting into the mix, allowing Chubb to pick up the first down. And then it was a quick hitter up the middle, basically untouched until he was in the end zone by Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb had 60 of the 75 yards between a reception and rushing, and here's what he's done since he became the starter.
Sensational.
I mean, Andre, those are staggering numbers.
Yeah, and throwing at least 1 touchdown run in each of those games and where he's gone over 100+ yards. So you talk about a guy getting it done on a high level for the season. Now 12 touchdown runs and 2 touchdown receptions. So that's a true freshman with that type of production.
Marshall Morgan kicks it off. Jamal Golden, about 3 yards deep, will take a knee. So now the Georgia Tech offense, which is leading the ACC and is 13th in the country at almost 38 points per game, led by Justin Thomas, the sophomore out of Prattville, Alabama, who has just grown into this position and has become a world beater of late. He is the thing that makes it go.
And he is electric. 100-meter state champion in the state of Alabama. About 10.7 speed coming out of high school. If he breaks, look out.
827 yards rushing. He is completing passes over 50%, but this will be a run-dominated offense today. And that run dominated by Georgia on the defensive side.
Yeah, well played by Damian Swann, and then forcing everything back inside and waiting is Jordan Jenkins, a playmaker on the edge. Watch Swann, number 5, come into your screen along with Floyd, keeping the outside leverage, and that allows Jenkins to make the play. A surprise that Georgia Tech's trying to work the edges and not between the tackles with Days, the B-back.
Inside handoff goes to St. John Days. He'll pick up 3. That'll bring up 3rd down as we take a look at the impact players on this side of the football.
Yeah, St. John Days, as you just mentioned, 3 consecutive 100-yard games. DeAndre Smelter on the outside is a big play receiver for Georgia Tech when they elect to go to the air. Damian Swan, we talked about him and mentioned him. He is a true playmaker on the back end of Georgia's defense. And then already getting into the action, Jordan Jenkins, an excellent defensive player along the line for Georgia.
DeAndre Smelter splits out near side. He averages 21 yards per catch. Georgia Tech looking to throw here, looking for Smelter. Thomas keeps it himself, and he should have the first down out over the 35-yard line. Nifty footwork, picks up 7. Ramik Wilson brings him down.
Excellent skill set for this offense and what Paul Johnson needs. You're going to see here just looking downfield, and he played in an offense that was a spread, mostly passing type offense. So that's the dimension that Georgia Tech's been able to take advantage of, his ability to throw the football when needed. But if things break down, boy, he is excellent pulling it down and making plays with his legs, Dave. That's
Ramik Wilson, a senior linebacker, led the SEC in tackles a year ago, 2nd on the team this year in tackles with 83.
Watch 51 kind of come into your screen. Looked like a little friendly fire there. He's up, and looks like we may see number 51 again here pretty quick.
Georgia playing with a couple of seniors. In the middle of that defense, Marlo Herrera, who leads the team with 93 stops, and then there's Wilson with his 83.
There's a lot of good youth, and as well as senior leadership, as you just mentioned, with this Georgia defense.
First down and 10, Georgia Tech. They will throw near side. Pass is caught by Smelter. He's out to midfield.
And this is the dimension that when you face the Yellow Jackets this year, you have to account for. You got a guy in Justin Thomas who can throw the football, 52% on the year. And right there, he gets it out quick, and there's the playmaker, one of our impact players in DeAndre Smelter, who can really do something with the football after the catch.
Inside handoff will pick up 3 on the play. St. John Days on the carry.
He stepped in for Zach Lasky at that B-back kind of slash fullback position, and he's an ACC back of the week earlier this year. As I mentioned, put together 3 consecutive 100-yard performances, and that's what really makes this offense go. When you have the fullback or their B-back making plays in the middle, it is tough to contain this offense.
Thomas looking to throw again. Big collision down to 33, incomplete, bobbled. Dennis Andrews couldn't get his hands on it. Big hit came from Quincy Mauger.
If Andrews is able to hold on, it could be a big play, but big Quincy Mauger on the back end. This is sophomore, had a solid game last week against Charleston Southern. We had Andrews looking for the contact, and Quincy Mauger's going to oblige and give it to him. He's looking. I'm going to give it to you. That's about as clean a tackle as you want in the game of football right now.
Well, Georgia Tech on 3rd downs has been outstanding. Nobody's been better. Over 58%. Thomas will throw. Incomplete. Had a man wide open and just couldn't connect. And it'll be a punting situation for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, just kind of skipped one in there. If he actually could have set his feet, he'd have thrown an accurate pass to Tony Zennon, one of their backs. And right there, if he's just able to get a little bit more on the football, and he knows it, had him wide open, would have been enough for the first down, and this drive would have continued.
Zennon, another guy, 8 catches, averaging 20 yards per reception. Rodwell to punt it away. Back deep, Reggie Davis. He'll let it hit at the 5, and it'll trickle in to the end zone. That is just the second touchback all year for Rodwell. So the Bulldogs will have the football, leading by a touchdown. 7:48 to go. First quarter action from Athens, GA.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands?
First meeting all the way back in 1893. Of course, Bobby Dodd at Georgia Tech won 8 straight. But the streak was finally broken in 57 when Theron Sapp scored the game-winning touchdown. A lot of history between these two teams, and lately it's been Georgia's side. But as you see, back in 49 through 56, Georgia Tech was cruising along under the legendary coach Bobby Dodd.
It has been Georgia as of late, and a lot of games, a lot of wins in this series by the Bulldogs.
Sony Michel comes in Wildcat formation. He takes the snap and picks up about 4 on the play before P.J. Davis brings him down. Already 4 stops for P.J.
And they talked about, defensive coordinator Ted Roof, he talked about yardage after contact. And there are the yards for Sony Michel. He's been banged up with a shoulder most of the year, but they have to stop ball carriers in their tracks. Cannot allow Chubb or Michel to bounce off and make big plays. And so far, that's been a task for Georgia Tech defensively.
Toss sweep to Michel. Sony hit again by P.J. Davis. Gain of 3. P.J. comes in leading the team with 90 total tackles on the year. It's just been very productive. Led the team with 13 against Clemson.
Yeah, 90 coming in, 4 sacks to go along with that, and he's 9th in the ACC in tackles. Led the team a couple of weeks ago against Clemson in a big game where he had 13 tackles against Clemson.
A little toss sweep to Sony Michel. He'll have the first down at the 32-yard line. Brought down by Quayshawn Neely, the middle linebacker, the senior out of Lakeland, Florida.
And Neely someone got excellent penetration and had a shot right there. As Quayshawn made the tackle, but you got to stop him short of the first down. That's yards after contact, and which Ted Roof told us they have to be able to stop these 2 backs, and Michel and Chubb, before they initiate contact and then get yards after.
Georgia lining up in the I formation. Straight handoff and a big hit. There you go.
That's how you do it.
Adam
That's
Gotsis.
how it is done.
Loss of 2 on the play.
He's the team's defensive leader. Came in with 24 tackles and a couple of sacks, but boy, he beats the block. A big Greg Pike beats him and sheds it outside right into the living room of Sony Michel. That is how you do it.
Gotsis, 25 consecutive starts for the junior. Sony Michel cutting it back to the middle of the field and get it to the 35-yard line. They'll pick up 5, but now Georgia looking at a 3rd down coming up. Bulldogs on the year, pretty good at 48.5%, 3rd in the SEC.
Yeah, this is why we chose Sony Michel as one of our impact players. Scratching your head saying, why not Nick Chubb? Well, we knew that he was going to play a significant role in this ball game, giving Chubb a blow who was magical on their opening drive.
Sony Michel's been bothered by a shoulder and an ankle, but close to 100% this afternoon. Mason walloped as he lets it go. I mean, he took a shot.
Yeah, and he is slow to get up from that shot.
That'll be 4th down, and here comes the punt unit.
Well, watch the shot. He's working the pocket, and it forces him to step up. But then here comes someone that can't get a number. It looked like P.J. Davis, who steps up and a little bit late. Boy, that one you feel for a little while.
So 4th and 7. Here is Colin Barber. Good hang time. Fair catch called for at the 23-yard line by Jamal Golden. So good defensive stand by Georgia Tech. 41-yard punt. Jackets have the football when we come back to Athens. 7-0 Bulldogs out in front. And I think they might have a little revenge in mind.
Just a little bit after last year's finish.
Inside handoff. That goes to St. John Days out of Marietta. Herrera with the tackle. That's a gain of 8.
Yeah, good size at 6'2", 231. And when this offense is rolling, Justin Thomas can really operate this triple option. But if it's going to have the success they need it to have today, St. John Days is going to have to pile on some yards between the tackles.
Another inside handoff for Dace. He'll have the first down. He had 157 yards against NC State, his best game of the year. Give us an opportunity to go down, check in with Laura on this Georgia defense.
Yeah, Dave, defensive coordinator for Georgia, Jeremy Pruitt, saying to his guys, keep hitting Justin Thomas and going after him, and he'll throw you the ball. He wants interceptions. He also said, whatever you do, don't relax. Play with a constant edge. Of course, Jeremy Pruitt is familiar with Justin Thomas, recruiting him when he was in high school.
First down and 10. Georgia Tech. Thomas looking to throw. That ball almost picked off. Damian Swann nearly had his 4th pick of the year.
Yeah, and credit DeAndre Smelter for turning defensive back. It's almost like they switched reverse roles here, where Swann became the receiver and Smelter was the defensive back. It's thrown outside when it needed to be thrown inside. I think he has a chance to complete it if he puts it on the outside shoulder of Smelter. He goes inside and Swann was right there.
Second down and 10. Timeout taken by Georgia Tech. Thomas just couldn't get comfortable with the play.
They may have gotten a false start here. There's a flag by the head linesman that came out. So before the play was actually run, it may be a false start here.
That's what the Georgia players are hoping for. It's right in front of the Georgia bench. Mark Richt hoping to back him up 5 before the timeout was called.
Full start. Before the timeout, number 75 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, right, second down.
That is Matt Moore, our referee today.
Yeah, Laura was talking about Justin Thomas and Jeremy Pruitt recruiting him. He was actually recruited and was committed to Alabama as a defensive back, and then decided he wanted to play quarterback. Paul Johnson entered the picture and said, look, you are just what we're looking for at Georgia Tech to operate our triple option. And that's how he ended up playing for that man.
And Andre, talking to Coach Johnson this week, it's his growth this year as a quarterback that's made this offense click the way it has. He has been very impressed with his sophomore signal caller. He's been in the program, though, 3 years as he redshirted. Toss sweep far side. Zinnin, nowhere to go.
What a player Leonard Floyd is.
Loss of 2.
We're talking about leading this team in sacks with 6 on the year and playing excellent outside leverage, sheds a block, and then it's one-on-one with the ball carrier, Tony Zinnin. And there is nowhere to go with that long body of Leonard Floyd. 6'4", 230. He can afford to put some more weight on this offseason, but boy, is he a weapon defensively.
And Zinnin, perhaps the quickest of the backs. Thomas. Couple of pump fakes, dancing around and pushed out of bounds at the 33-yard line. So it'll now be 4th down.
A false start mixed with a negative play. There's really nowhere for Justin Thomas to operate. You just keep the ball in front of you. If you're Georgia, don't allow it over your head. You're going to force a punt, which they were able to do here.
Ryan Rodwell to punt it away. Isaiah McKenzie now back deep.
Oh, what a punt.
Boy, this is an excellent punt, but McKenzie will have a chance to return it. And he slips at the 22-yard line. but a 46-yard punt. It's clean old-fashioned hate. It may be clean, but doesn't mean these guys won't hit you. There have been some pads a popping between the hedges today. Back in a moment. Boy, last year in Atlanta, Georgia Tech got off to a great start. They led 20-0 for 29.5 minutes. Smelter with a touchdown there. Vad Lee with a great throw, but then things turned. Hudson Mason in his first career start in place of the injured Aaron Murray hits up with Michael Bennett. And the next thing you know, folks, this is Todd Gurley's time. He would finish with 122 yards. He would take that one up the middle in overtime, and Georgia would escape as the incomplete pass falls in the end zone. 41-34. Hudson Mason threw for just shy of 300 yards in that game. You take a look at the series history now. Some say it's 107th meeting, some say it's 109th meeting. There were a couple of games played back during World War II where Georgia Tech used some players that weren't really students, and so Georgia doesn't really account for those games. Georgia Tech still does, but certainly there is a history here that goes all the way back to 1893. The second time Hudson Mason has started in one of these games.
Yeah, down 20-0 last year and led that come from behind win with it being his first start.
Boy, McKenzie wrapped up by Isaiah Johnson. Play went for a loss of 2. Good defense by number 1.
Yeah, he missed all of last season with an ankle injury. Leads the team with 5 pass breakups, a 3-year starter. And watch him here in the open field. This is what he means to this Georgia Tech defense. Tons of experience on the back end at strong safety.
262 career tackles for Johnson out of Tyrone, Georgia. Nick Chubb goes one way. Georgia will go the other. Caught with the 31. Malcolm Mitchell driving it all the way out close to the 35. Let's see where they spot it. That should be good enough for a first down.
Big Brandon Cublano pushing the pile behind Malcolm Mitchell. And as well, Ted Roof talked about handling the wrinkles. We've already seen Chubb is in at the Wildcat quarterback position, and then he talked about sweeps, which they handle with McKenzie, but the screens have given them trouble here early.
Here's Chubb, big hole off the left side. He gets past Johnson. Chubb to the 30. Chubb knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Boy, so electric is Nick Chubb. You give him a crease, you forget about his speed to hit the home run. Brandon Cublano, the left guard, watch 54. Pull around, seal it up, and that springs Nick Chubb. It's a foot race. That Demond Smith able to track him down.
Chubb gets to the goal line, denied by inches after the 65-yard run. He's already up over 100 for the day. His 7th consecutive 100-yard game since he took over the starting role at tailback.
Yeah, what's amazing, he only carried it 9 times last week against Charleston Southern. He went for 113 and 2 touchdowns.
They'll go to Chubb again. Lost the football. Georgia Tech has it.
Well, you talk about a big, big play in this football game for the Yellow Jackets. You don't usually see that from Nick Chubb. He rarely puts the ball on the ground, but trying to maybe go over the top. It was timed well, and it's Isaiah Johnson who forces the fumble of Nick Chubb. We just talked about Johnson and how much he means to this Georgia Tech defense. Well, they're forcing the fumble. You'll see him come in right there, put his shoulder pad on the football, and it comes out.
You know, Andre, I just wonder about Nick Chubb, and he just had a 65-yard run. They gave it to him on the very next play.
A little tired, maybe?
Well, yeah. Great play by Tech. Once again, they are first in the ACC in turnover margin, 9th in the country. Now let's see what they can do with it here. Thomas trying to throw out of the end zone. Batted in the air and almost picked off by the Dogs. A dangerous play, and Thomas was introduced to the hedges in the end zone.
Maybe showing some inexperience there. If you're going to throw it away, you throw the football out of bounds. got Toby Johnson for a roughing the passer penalty. And this is going to give Paul Johnson and this offense some room in which to work. See Thomas working out. The ball is gone, and here comes the big fella with a little shove. I don't know about that one, Dave. Oh boy, I know you're not supposed to put your hands on a quarterback after he's gone, but that's iffy.
Well, it certainly gives Georgia Tech a big break out near the 20. There we'll go with Zach Lasky. They'll give a yard on the play. Mike Thornton, Leonard Floyd combined for the stop.
Yeah, Lasky's back from an injury, and he's playing well. 5th in the ACC in rushing. Averages over 5 yards a carry for his career. Really understands Paul Johnson's offense, and it's been St. John Days who's been the big spark at that position, but with Lasky back, we've got kind of the double dip at the B-back spot.
15 minutes are in the books. Georgia took their opening drive in this rivalry, went 75 yards. Nick Chubb with the touchdown run, and that is where we stand. Back in a moment. Top 20 matchup between Georgia Tech and Georgia Bulldogs, up by a touchdown as we begin the second quarter. Let's go back to the end of that first quarter. Nick Chubb on a 65-yard run.
Yeah, it just became a sprint towards the end zone. A nice job of tracking him down right there at the end. And then we were talking about it during the break. Maybe a little tired, maybe a little winded, with a combination of Isaiah Johnson putting his shoulder pads right where they needed to be to force that fumble of Nick Chubb. I mean, right in the exact spot to cause the fumble.
Second down for Georgia Tech. Little end around to Smelter. He gets a block. He turns the corner, and it's hit at the 23-yard line. Falls forward to the 26. Jordan Jenkins led the way.
A nice block by Michael Summers to help out without getting called for a hold or a block in the back. Kind of repositioned himself to pick up the block for Smelter.
Injured Georgia Bulldog down on the turf.
Boy, this is Damian Swann. A leader on the back end, a playmaker. He's played just about every position. Actually,
two players.
You got Lorenzo Carter and then Swann on the other side. Swann's played just about every position on the back end. It looks like both will be back. I really like him. He really reminds me of a college teammate, Johnny Jackson, who wasn't blazing fast, and that's what the coaches will tell you, but he's so instinctive, knows where the football is, knows leverage, knows body position and language. And Johnny went on to play for the 49ers, won 2 Super Bowl rings. I think this guy has an NFL future, no doubt about it.
Georgia Tech 1 of 3 on third downs, looking at a 3rd and 2 here. Zen goes in motion, stops, but they'll hand it to the up back. Looks like they'll have the first down. It'll be close. Zach Lasky hit by Toby Johnson. See if they don't bring the chains in. Matt Moore getting an eye on it, and he will.
He'll do just that. All of a sudden, they're running the fullback or the B-back a little bit more. Lasky, St. John Days, he may be just a little bit short here. Depending on this spot.
And they will have it. Half a football.
Good spot. Picks up the first down. And when this offense, when you're able to get the fullback going, St. John Days and Lasky, as I mentioned, that's when they become dangerous, because they just kind of soften you up in the middle, and then they condense you down inside to try to take that away. And that's when all of a sudden the A-backs, those pitchmen and the quarterback, start making their marks.
Swann back on the field for Georgia. Thomas going that way, spins out of trouble, throws caught by Smelter around the 40-yard line.
Well, this is where Georgia Tech, particularly this season, with that young man, Justin Thomas, DeAndre Smelter, you got Darren Waller as well on the other side. This is the element that you don't really account for. You haven't had to account for defensively in previous years. This is a kid that used to play in a spread offense in high school and threw it around a bunch.
Well, I like the way Smelter came back to help his quarterback out. Picks up a dozen yards and a first down. Thomas will throw it again. Now he spins and spins again. Wilson chasing him down.
A little Doug Flutie action there.
Well, we'll go back a few plays, and we had that double injury.
You'll see Swann right in the middle, kind of crossing. And it's friendly fire right in the middle of the screen. Right in there is where both guys kind of collided. It looked like Lorenzo Carter's legs just sideswiped Damian Swann.
Second down and 10. They'll run the option, and Thomas will keep it. Lorenzo Carter chases him down 4 yards for Justin. He's had the 3rd best rushing season by a Georgia Tech quarterback as he's closing in on 850 yards this year.
Yeah, he's really gotten comfortable in this offense, and the team around him, which is major. They feel like they can win with Justin Thomas. And this is a team that will play in the ACC championship game against Florida State. It's a tough offense to prepare for in a short amount of time. Paul Johnson, yeah, going to take a timeout, Dave.
We'll take the timeout as well. 12:31 to go here in the second. Georgia Tech driving the football. Back in a moment.
Played good. They improved after that football game. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. That's a tough one to watch when you goose egg a team and they're playing for the championship.
Thomas on 3rd down. Pass caught. Smelter comes middle field. Boy, he can really fly.
Well, he goes outside the block of Darren Waller. Maybe continue outside. Watch here. He's going to catch this, but watch him work back. You talk about working back to the football. They understand it. Right about here, I'm going to ask for a freeze. If he goes outside here as opposed to cutting inside, watch Waller come into the screen. If he continues in the little bubble right there at the end, he may still be running.
Smelter got up hobbling a bit, but a first down for Georgia Tech nonetheless. Boy, Smelter is some kind of player. Thomas will keep it on the option. Well played by Georgia, only a yard. How about coming into the game? Georgia Tech had rushed the football 600 times. They had thrown the football only 161.
Yeah, and you got to be tough to play quarterback at Georgia Tech, and Justin Thomas is a tough player. That last play, you got to be willing. There's 4 defenders there. 2 of them are accounting for the pitch man. You know you have to keep the football, and you're going to take a shot.
Inside handoff, Zach Lasky.
Boy, did he hit it.
Gain of 6 on the play. Zach, 4 carries 2 weeks ago against Clemson, trying to bounce back from an injury. Coach says he is fine today and ready to rumble.
Well, he got a nice block up front by Freddie Burton and Shaq Mason, the center and right guard. And that is Smelter, who is in a little bit of pain. Looks like an ankle.
3rd down. 10th play of the drive coming up. Another dive play, and that'll be good enough for the first down. Lasky picks up 3. Ray Drew in on the tackle, but this is the kind of drive that is exactly what Georgia Tech wants to do.
I was telling you a story about Paul Johnson when he was at Navy. I did a game, the Emerald Bowl, out in San Francisco. He's playing New Mexico and they went on a 14-minute drive. It continued to lapped over from the third quarter into the fourth quarter. They ended up scoring 3 points, but penalties would back it up. They convert 14 minutes.
Thomas keeps it swallowed at the 25-yard line by Ramik Wilson.
So you talk about possessions being important when you play his teams, because he can chew up so much clock and convert. You talked about it, 58% on third downs. They will just eat up a football game in time of possession.
Second down, and let's call it 9. Another dive play to Lasky. He'll pick up 4 before he's pushed back. Ray Drew with another tackle. Give us an opportunity to join Peter Burns back in our studio. Georgia out in front. Under 9 minutes to go, second quarter. Georgia Tech has converted all 3 of their third down conversions. Remember, they are the best in the country in this department. Stuffed. Ray Drew with another tackle. That is 5 for the senior out of Thomasville, Georgia.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Paul Johnson went to the fullback thinking maybe fourth down that he'd go for it, but he's been gashing them. Lasky's had some pretty big runs here in this drive, and there Georgia pinches down inside. Big Ray Drew on the stop to force a field goal attempt here.
Ray Drew came in with 23 tackles on the year. He has 5 today. 37-yard attempt. Harrison Butker, 10 out of 16 on the year. His long is 46. Right between the hash marks, and it's blocked. And guess who got it? Ray Drew with the block. The senior going out in style.
Ray Drew with the block. I think it's Damian Swan with the recovery and the advancement of the football. But Paul Johnson talked to us about his kicker. Thought he would have a better year than 10 of 16. It just seemed to take a while before this ball was set and kicked.
Well, Ray Drew had 4 consecutive tackles and then caps off that drive with a block.
It's a low kick. It actually hits Drew right between the 4 and the 7. Swan with a recovery is setting up Georgia in excellent field position.
Regions, official bank of the SEC.
Boy, some of the moments. There's Amp Arnold right there, scores the TD, and then a 2-point conversion. Georgia wins back in 78. And of course, who can forget 81? Herschel jumps over everybody. Georgia Tech wins in 1990. They also won in 89, but that 1990 game was the one that propelled them to a national championship. Actually was down in that game, the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, as Georgia Tech just put it to Nebraska. Some of the great moments in this series between the Jackets and the Dogs.
I'll tell you the difference in this one right now is big plays. Georgia averaging about 7.8 yards a play. Georgia Tech having to grind at 4.1 yards per play.
Chubb.
And another big play.
After almost a 6-minute drive, that's nothing for Georgia Tech. Nick Chubb and the offense back on the field. Nick Chubb today is over 100 yards again. And a flag down. Let's see.
False start.
Half infraction. Number 61 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's David Andrews, who's making his 38th consecutive start. You don't hear very often a coach describe your center as the offensive and team leader, but that's the case here with David Andrews.
Yeah, a lot of experience, 3-year starter, replaced a 4-year starter in Ben Jones, who's now the left guard for the Houston Texans.
Hudson Mason will swing it out to the far side. Jonathan Rump. He will take it to the 43-yard line, give him a dozen on the catch.
Boy, has Rump come on in the last couple of weeks, and he's been a kid that has had some injury problems during his career here at Georgia, but gives him another option on the outside when he's healthy.
With Chubb, met at the line and stopped in his tracks. First man there. Quayshawn Neely, the middle linebacker, along with Keyshawn Freeman, the true freshman defensive end who the coaches are very high on.
You see the numbers there for Nick Chubb. 11 carries, already over 100 yards, 110 to be exact, and a touchdown. Throwing another reception for 24 yards. He is a big play machine for this Georgia offense.
Sony Michel in the backfield for the Bulldogs. Four-man front from Georgia Tech. They will throw. And the pass is caught on the far side by Jay Rome. His 9th catch of the year for the junior down in Valdosta, Georgia. Pickup of 5.
An excellent athlete. He was a member of Georgia's hoop team in 2011 through 2012. And Dad was a two-sport star at Clemson. Was selected in the 78 NBA draft and 79 NBA draft. Comes from some pretty good genes.
Sony Michel. Neely with the tackle, a gain of 4. Georgia using a lot of up-tempo offense today, more so than we've seen in the past. They like to kind of use it sporadically as a a Jacket is down on the field. That looks like, is that P.J. Davis?
Well, that's their leading tackler defensively. One of their leaders, just a sophomore. And their best run stopper.
Well, they tend to him. We'll take a break. 6:02 to go before halftime. Georgia Tech training staff taking a look at P.J. Davis, who has 7 tackles today, 2 behind the line, 97 for the year for the small diminutive linebacker who just seems to make every play. And it looks like maybe he just got his bell rung here.
Yeah, it didn't look like anyone came in low or that he took a big hit.
Let's hope he's all right. He's a young man that was hardly recruited out of high school. As a matter of fact, Georgia Tech picked him up the week before signing day a few years ago. Paul Johnson ended up having a scholarship available the week before and decided to call on Mr. Davis, and he said, absolutely, I'll accept. And it has been a pretty good match.
Good last-minute signing.
Yes.
As you talk about a kid that's come in this year and really has come into his own. You mentioned it, leading the team in tackles, coming into this ball game with 90, has 4 sacks and an interception to go along with it.
Here's Chubb. Boy, he gets walloped. Isaiah Johnson came flying in late to make the hit on Chubb after a gain of 4. Let's go down to Laura.
Well, Dave, right now the athletic trainers for Georgia Tech are taking P.J. Davis through concussion testing. So far, he looks to be responding well. I'll get back to you guys with more information on that. As for wide receiver DeAndre Smelter, he's been grimacing in pain. He's dealing with a left knee injury. They put some ice on it, and he's right now sitting on the training table. He even was fighting back tears earlier, so he's in a lot of pain. Certainly somebody they want to see if they can get back on the field.
Boy, that is a huge. Those are 2 of their best playmakers on each side of the ball. On 3rd down and 2, that's going to be close. Chubb, I don't know if he got it or not.
P.J. White in there.
He didn't get it.
He didn't. It was close. Going to bring up 4th down here, but nice job of kind of getting in low and winning at the point of attack.
DJ White led the charge as Georgia's going to go for it here on 4th down. They'll hand it off to Chubb. Breaks through the line and has it.
Boy, if he keeps his balance, maybe a foot race. He stumbles coming through, and I thought he may have thought he was going to engage in some contact a little bit sooner and got a little too low. He stays a little more upright. He's still running. You see here, he's thinking contact, and he's got 1 man to beat, and that's Isaiah Johnson.
Well, it looked like Georgia Tech had a chance to stop him short. But Chubb sneaks through the line, sets up a 1st down and 10 now.
They love the screen out of this formation. See it at the top.
Sony Michel in the backfield now. He'll stay in the block. Hudson Mason in some serious trouble. He was looking to pitch it off to somebody, but nobody was there.
Yeah, Keyshawn Freeman, our other impact player, true freshman, has really had an excellent season. Every week he seems to get better, and he beats Greg Pike. Already 3 tackles, 1 for a loss, and add a sack to his total.
How often do you hear a coach like Ted Roof, the defensive coordinator, described a player as he's everything that is right with college football. That's about as high a praise as you can get. Mason over the middle, pass caught. Jerome, he stood up at the 15 and dropped.
Boy, the play fake. The play fake to Sony Michel holds the linebackers. You're so successful running. Watch here. Just the false step of the two linebackers. That clears out the middle for Jerome and made it an easy throw for Hudson Mason.
Boy, under 3.5 to go here in the second quarter. Georgia's drive. Impressive to this point. After the block field goal set this whole thing up. Sony Michel cuts it back to the 5. Dives for the pylon. He'll be just shy. Did the ball come out? Georgia Tech says they have it. And they do in the end zone for a touchback.
Oh, boy.
What a break for Georgia Tech.
You're talking about dodging some serious trouble on 2 occasions. Once by Nick Chubb, this time by Sony Michel. Ball comes out. It's still in bounds, and guess who? Isaiah Johnson, arguably the defensive MVP to this point in the football game for Georgia Tech.
The Bulldogs' last 2 drives have resulted in fumbles. This is a Georgia team that came in with only 8 turnovers total, the second fewest in the FBS. But Georgia Tech, once again, creating turnovers.
Bend but don't break is what's been going on with Georgia Tech defensively here. They allow yards, but they don't allow you to score.
Georgia Tech with the football after Georgia on their last 2 possessions. First it was Chubb, then it was Michel. They have turned it over in the red zone. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you in a matter of moments. 3:04 to go here in the second quarter, and there are the 2 guys that have cost it up today.
2 true
Both
freshmen.
fumbles inside the Georgia Tech 1-yard line.
Yeah, this is just a good football play on the part of Isaiah Johnson with a shoulder pad right on the ball. And in this one, Quayshawn Neely comes in. Again, Isaiah Johnson with a fumble recovery. But bend but don't break has been the way that it's gone for Georgia Tech defensively.
Thomas looking to throw on first down. Coming near side. Looking for Darren Waller, a senior. Big boy at 6'5", 240, covered by Aaron Davis.
Yeah, he's the next sort of go-to guy with DeAndre Smelter nursing a knee injury here early in the first half. So he's going to have to step up, along with Michael Summers, another viable option for Justin Thomas.
That is not a good sign for Smelter. 15 sitting on the training table. He is a big play guy, averaging 21 yards a reception and 7 touchdowns. Having to watch right now is Thomas with the pitch. Best gainer on the ground for Georgia Tech to this point as they go with Perkins, and he'll pick up 25 yards.
Yeah, you're thinking with the incompletion on first down, they're going to run the fullback. Need something positive. Everybody bites down inside. It allows a one-on-one situation with Lorenzo Carter and Justin Thomas. He draws him in, flips it out there to his A-back in Charles Perkins, and the first big gain in the running game for Georgia Tech.
They'll go with St. John Days. He'll pick up a couple of yards, hit by Leonard Floyd, along with Amarlo Herrera. Clock at 2:24 and moving.
Tell you what, Toby Johnson was there early again as well. All 6'4", 300 pounds of him. Big fella, number 88. Stretching out those 2 8s.
One of 27 seniors honored today before the game for the Bulldogs. There's the pitch to the 45-yard line, close to the first down. Perkins will pick up 7.5, maybe 8.
Well, watch the work of Dennis Andrews. You better have some pretty good edge blockers and some unselfish players. Watch number 3. That right there, just working against Swan. That allows the back with the football to turn up the field, Perkins. If you don't have that block, he is stopped way short of the first down. With it, it gives him a first down.
Perkins, couple of carries, 33 yards today. Best rushing numbers on Georgia Tech's offense. See the first down story. 10 for Tech, 11 for the Bulldogs. Thomas back to pass. Pressure comes. Gets the pass away, and it's caught at the 41-yard line on that far side by Dion Hill. Don't forget tonight on the SEC ESPN Network, we'll bring you a live alternate presentation of the Iron Bowl. Join Paul Feinbaum, an SEC Network analyst, as they break down highlights and discuss the game as it happens. Paul Feinbaum Film Room, Iron Bowl live tonight at 7 on the SEC ESPN Network, and watch ESPN. Well, they're going to take a few moments and evaluate that last play very closely in the replay booth.
I think the left foot is down. It's inbound.
Okay, now let's see if he maintains possession through the catch. And I believe he does.
Yep. It's a good call on the field by the officials. It's good footwork as well. That left foot, just enough of it inbounds. And you can actually see a little bit of the green grass pop up from the work. Watch here. This is a good angle. Watch right there at the bottom. The dirt pops up with the grass, and all it takes is 1 foot.
This is our best angle. Remember, it was called a catch on the field.
That's inbounds, David. Look at that.
Well, first of all, David Oliver, our linesman right there, is 3 feet away and staring right at it.
This may be one of those where it's confirmed. Well, Johnson certainly gave it his seal of approval. A little clap from the head coach of the Jackets.
After further review, the ruling is confirmed. Clean catch, second down.
Good work by the camera crew as well.
Gerald Hodges up in the replay booth delivers the message down to Matt Moore. So it'll be second down at about 6 for Georgia Tech. 1:39 on the clock. Jackets have 2 timeouts left. Total offense, Georgia 2:29 here in the first half. Georgia Tech at 1:42. Thomas steps up, incomplete.
Trying to find Perkins through all the traffic, and tell you what, showing you the athletic ability. Watch the pressure that he's able to avoid. He gets it right away from the outside by Floyd, steps up, and then he's just trying to be an athlete to get the ball to Perkins, and unable to do so. But still, just avoiding a sack or pressure. It's a nice job by Thomas.
They'll go with Days on 3rd down, and he'll be a couple of yards shy. Georgia Tech, by the way, has not been shut out in a first half of a game since 2008 against North Carolina.
Still a lot of time to play, and when you run a play like that on 3rd down to your fullback, the message is we're going for it on 4th down. And here they come right to the line of scrimmage. They get a repeat. Georgia's going to take a timeout.
Timeout. Georgia. That's their first time out of the half.
We'll take the timeout as well. Back to see this 4th down and 2 in 60 seconds. 4th down and 2 for Georgia Tech. Late first half, 1:08 on the clock. You go with a dive play or take it outside?
I think I go right back to St. John Days.
They'll pitch it. Perkins has it. Georgia Tech will move the chains and stop the clock with 1:02.
And that's the beauty of this offense, Dave. You can give it to Days if it's there. If it's not, he feels the defense press down inside to take away the fullback. You pull it. Now you've got the option. Swan takes the quarterback. Easy pitch to Perkins for the first down.
Thomas comes near side. Bad throw behind Darren Waller. Boy, and this is where if you're going to throw the football, it just hurts you not having Smelter on the field. He's hurt with a bad knee right now.
It really does, because he's 6'3", about 222, big framed receiver. And you hear me talk a lot about this, where you don't have to put it on between the 1 and the 5 with a guy like that. You throw in his vicinity, in his range, and he can catch the ball away from his body.
Jeez, those numbers pretty much tell you the story. 4-man look from Georgia. Now it's a 5-man front. Thomas, big drop. He'll just throw it away and stop the clock and live another day.
Nobody really open. Basically a 3-man route. B.J. Bostic, he was eaten up in the middle of the field. Waller on one side. I think it was Michael Summers as well in there.
Thomas now 4 out of 12, throwing the football 48 yards.
Big down here where you need something. You need about half of it to give yourself a chance to convert on 4th down.
Georgia Tech's had a field goal block, but Georgia has fumbled it twice at the 1-yard line. Thomas again. Pass caught right at the 1st down marker.
That might do it.
That was Deion Hill again. And
remember Paul Johnson? We talked to him earlier this week, and he said, look, people think just because of what we do offensively, 3rd and long, we're in trouble. Well, Justin Thomas gives us a chance. And this is certainly qualifies 3rd and long, 3rd and 10. And there he is, completing one to Deion Hill. It's right about the 1st down marker. It's close, about half-yard shy. And when you run this type of offense with Days at fullback, give yourself a chance.
St. John Days off the right side, the 1st down, and then gets out of bounds at the 12. A gain of 13 for St. John. And 27 seconds on the clock.
You go behind the best player up front in Shaq Mason. Watch 70 work. Watch number 70. Just blowing everything down inside. And then that clears it out for St. John Days. Boy, they think a lot of Shaquille Mason, named after Shaquille O'Neal. But he is a solid football player for Georgia Tech, number 70.
Now they come near side with the option. Missed tackle allows Thomas to get close to the 6-yard line.
Boy, they'll pull Big Shaq Mason, and I don't know that I've seen a lot of teams or a lot of players blow up Jordan Jenkins. And he just did it in space. Leonard Floyd misses the tackle, but watch number 70 work against Jenkins. That's a blow up. I mean, just gets him right off pace. He goes on the ground. Did his job, and now the rest is left up to Justin Thomas to figure it out.
13 seconds to go. Georgia Tech uses a timeout. 1 remaining for the Jackets.
This is when you need a quick pass. This is when you need a quick drop by Thomas, and you have to coach him up right here. Look, we're going the outside edges. Don't take a lot of time. 2nd down, the ball needs to come out quick. Do not take a sack.
This Georgia Tech team probably thinking what could have been this year. They lose back-to-back games in the middle of the year to Duke, and then a shocker to North Carolina. But North Carolina got it rolling a little bit 2nd half of the season. So at the end of the year, it doesn't seem as big of a loss. But nonetheless, the game the Jackets felt they let get away.
We have a timeout, so everything's on the table here, from quarterback draws or a quarterback run to anything.
13 plays on this drive. Thomas will throw it, lob it up in the air. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. They go to Darren Waller, all 6'5", hauls in the pass.
And that's what having a guy 6'5" down in the red zone will present to you as an offense. Just a lob shot, go up, and Swan can't even make a play on it because of the body position of Waller. Look at this. It's like boxing out for a rebound. Didn't even have a chance to make a play on it. A well-thrown ball by Justin Thomas.
Here's the point after. It is up and good. What a drive by Georgia Tech. Never panicked, never got flustered, converted a couple of 4th downs, 14 plays, 80 yards. just shy of 3 minutes off the clock. Waller with his 4th touchdown reception of the season.
And just as important, you take momentum into halftime and you're getting the football first out of the half. So that is big to convert points, and not just a field goal, but the big points. You go into the locker room on the road feeling pretty good about yourself.
It's a strange game. I mean, Georgia could have easily put up another 14 points on the board. Chubb fumbles at the 1.
Yep.
Then Sony Michel fumbles into the end zone.
And that's going to be the message for Mark Richt. Is like, look, we're going in to score. We got to hold on to the football. We could have this game in hand, but we put it on the ground. We've got to avoid the turnovers offensively.
Nick Chubb up over 100 yards again, 117 on 14 carries.
What did Bobo tell us? To win the turnover battle, we're going to have limited possessions this week against Georgia Tech, and twice going into the end zone, they've put the ball on the ground.
Georgia was plus 16 in the turnover margin category, which was 2nd best in the FBS. They are -2 today. Short kick taken by Blazevich. Boy, Georgia's opening drive was a clinic in tempo, and Nick Chubb was the reason why. A simple run there caps off a 75-yard drive, and then Georgia Tech answers with their own 80-yard drive, and we are tied at 7. Look at the numbers. Georgia Tech actually being outrushed. These are 2 awesome running teams. They just do it differently.
The difference is right there. Right there. The turnovers by Georgia offensively is the difference in the ball game.
Hudson Mason 8 out of 9 for 88 yards. But on the scoreboard, the one that matters, we are tied at 7 after 30 minutes of play in the 107th edition of Clean Old Fashioned Hate between the hedges in Athens, GA. Let's get it downstairs and join Laura.
Coach, some big plays offensively, but 2 costly turnovers in the end zone. How do you hope your backs bounce back from those?
Yeah, they'll be fine. Typically, they have good ball security, but came out twice at the worst time. But they're very good backs, and they'll get back to the fundamentals.
You held Georgia Tech's high-scoring offense to just 7 points. Any adjustments you need to see on the defensive side of the ball?
No, I think we're playing well. You know, it would have been nice to keep them out of the end zone at the end there, but they did a nice job.
Thanks, Coach.
Mark Richt feels perhaps that his team left some points out on the football field with those turnovers. We are tied at 7 here in Athens. Time for us to go to the studios. Peter Burns, Tony Barnhart with our SEC halftime report. Guys.
Some clean, old-fashioned.
You are watching SEC Network Football presented by Allstate. An absolutely gorgeous day here at Sanford Stadium in Athens. Clean old-fashioned hate. Tied at 7 after 30 minutes of football. Dave Neal back alongside my partner Andre Ware. And Andre, certainly an even first half on the scoreboard. Looked like Georgia let some opportunities get away.
Well, they did. 2 scoring opportunities. Nick Chubb going into the end zone. He puts it on the ground. Sony Michel as well going in. But they got off to a heck of a start. Nick Chubb with an easy touchdown run to start the football game. Then it was a long run as well that got him down there. And you see here, it's just a foot race to the end zone. He comes up a little bit short. And then a couple of plays later, Nick Chubb trying to go over the top. Isaiah Johnson forces the fumble. Georgia Tech dodges one there. Then Sony Michel on his way to a touchdown run. It comes out. Isaiah Johnson recovers the fumble. Then you look at Justin Thomas over the top to his receiver, Darren Waller. That tied the game up at the half.
Great drive by Georgia Tech there at the end of the half to get it in the end zone. You see the statistical story, pretty even, although Georgia, that opening drive was very impressive. And Georgia put together 228 total yards, but it's those 2 turnovers, Dre, that you just circled that are the difference in this game at this point.
Yeah, going in. I mean, you're talking about not just in the field of play, but inside the 5-yard line where they are clearly scoring opportunities. 2 true freshmen, but you know, to their credit, Dave, they are not known to put the ball on the ground very much.
Yeah, that's what Coach Richt was saying to Laura on the way in to the locker room at halftime is that he wasn't overly worried about their psyche, as those two guys have been great all season in terms of holding on to the football. No Todd Gurley, so 1 and 27 trying to get it done for Georgia today. Georgia Tech will have the football to start the second half after that fantastic 80-yard drive, 14 plays to end the first half. Jamal Golden at about the 7-yard line. Jamal. And a flag comes out back at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, this may be a block in the back or a hold that's going to bring this one way back to around the 15-yard line.
Block in the back during the return, number 88 of the return team. Pass the distance to go. First down.
Let's go get an update with Laura down on the sidelines.
Well, Dave, I just spoke with Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson, who told me that wide receiver DeAndre Smelter will not come back in this game. He's dealing with a left knee injury. They've decided to hold him out. Johnson's saying they're going to have to figure out how to get it done without Smelter. He also told me on the positive side of things, they're very happy about the fumbles that they've forced for Georgia.
Yeah, and it was actually at the tail end, like a second tackle, that his toe got caught, and then the knee injury came after that.
Big run up the middle for St. John Days. That'll be a gain of a 12 and a first down. But what's the tail end of this play?
One more time.
Injury?
He's actually tackled by Aaron Davis. He gets up, and then Davis tackles him again. You could see the left toe kind of get caught in the turf, and the knee twist inward, and that's where the injury occurred. It's the second tackle on a kind of after the whistle had been blown that caused the injury to DeAndre Smelter.
And remember the ACC championship game next week in Charlotte with Florida State. Hope we can get back for that one. After the 12-yard run, movement up front by Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Trey Braun, the left guard, sitting in there a little bit too long.
Number 78 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Returning starter who's starting his 11th consecutive game. A versatile offensive lineman as well, who can play a lot of different positions up front for Paul Johnson.
You know, this isn't the biggest offensive line you'll see, but what Paul Johnson says about him,
he wants quick. He wants quicker offensive linemen where he can pull and things of that sort.
And they have that edge to them. They play hard every single snap. That time Georgia's defensive front getting the job done. Gain of about 1.5 yards.
And not a lot of room for Charles Perkins to operate. Trying to punch down with Shaq Mason and maybe come out the front side of it. Nice job in there. Just kind of sitting in, holding the point of attack was Mike Thornton.
Second down and 13. Thomas, the pitch, gets a good block on the outside. Broken tackle and a nice run of 12 yards as that goes to Dion Hill.
Well, and a nice job as well. Justin Thomas working this offense to perfection, showing it. They go down on the fullback. He pulls it out. They take the quarterback, forcing the pitch to Dion Hill. And that's how you operate this triple option attack of Georgia Tech's.
Boy, Days cuts it outside and picks up the first down over the 40-yard line and 11 yards. Wilson with the tackle, but the first time we've seen him cut one to the outside.
A big fella showing some give it and take it away. Inside, puts that leg in the ground, and then right there is what I like. Getting right back vertical to pick up positive yards. Not allowing the defense, Ramik Wilson or Herrera, to force you outside wide for a lesser gain, but get right back up the field.
They'll give it to Days again. He's to the 45. Give him 4 yards. Now St. John Days has 64 yards on the day on 10 carries.
You know what, Dave? You kind of sense a tempo change in Georgia Tech a little bit, where they're in the huddle, but they're out and the ball is snapped. It's what's called in the huddle, and there's so many options to this offense that they can just come right to the line of scrimmage. They don't have to worry about where you line up. It's what we want to do offensively.
Second down and 6. They'll run Days again, lose football.
I think he may have gotten back on it. And it may be a first down if he indeed did get back on the football.
Jackets will have it and a first down.
Give him a rest and bring in Lasky, but they get Wilson outside, and he did a nice job kind of getting a hand in there and pulling the football loose. You see Ramik Wilson right there. It's a hand right on the football, but Days is able to come up with it.
And they'll hand it to Lasky, and he drives his way to the 43-yard line. 6-yard pickup. Now you're looking at second down at about 4.
Yeah, and it's kind of a change of pace when they go from Days to Lasky. Days is more of a thumper. Lasky comes in at that B-back position, and he hits it just a little bit quicker. So if there's a smidget of daylight, it looks as though he's going to break, you know, each and every one of them, because he's no nonsense. I mean, no nonsense. He's right downhill and hits the hole with a lot more quickness than St. John Days.
4-man look from Georgia Tech, or from Georgia. Another handoff up the middle. Zach Lasky. He's down to the 20-yard line, still on his feet.
There's the example right there. I mean, he just defined it. There's a hole between Freddie Burton and Shaquille Mason right there, and just the quickness and speed in which he hits it, and it's only there briefly, but boy, the quickness in which he hits the hole allows him positive yards just about every time he touches the football. That's a heck of a run.
Sideline warning. First one for Georgia Tech. Paul
A
Johnson.
little excited after that run by Lasky.
There are the numbers. It is a committee that does it. Matter of fact, we asked Paul Johnson this week. I said, how do you determine who carries the ball? He says, usually I just look around and whoever's standing next to me, I send him in with the play.
Yeah, run it behind Mason.
Here's Days to the 5, down to the 4-yard line.
Dave, you remember earlier in the first half, I told you, if the fullback in this offense starts to have success, it could be a long afternoon for defenses. Well, that's happening. Days got it started on this drive. Lasky gave him a breather. They come back with a more physical back in Days, and now they're playing downhill against a defense that looks like it's getting a little bit tired.
10th play of the drive. They've all been on the ground. Days down to the 2-yard line. Stop there.
And that also gives you the edges when you pull it, and Dion Hill, Perkins, Zenon, all those A-backs in this offense. Wouldn't surprise me if they show it to Days here and Thomas walks into the end zone because of the concentration that now Georgia has to have on the fullback Days.
Second down and goal. Days stopped at the line of scrimmage. Leonard Floyd, Ramik Wilson met him in the hole.
Nice job of playing it. They are concentrating inside, and you've got to get that fullback stopped first. Excellent job by Sterling Bailey as well, getting leverage in there along with Wilson.
See that, Georgia Tech has scored a touchdown on 8 of 11 second half opening drives, trying to make it 9 out of 12. Third and goal.
Man, you talk about condensed. All 11 are right there.
Thomas keeps it. And he is stopped shy of the goal line. Georgia says they have it. No whistle. Damian Swann. There he goes.
What a turn of events. I thought Thomas was close to being in the end zone. One of our impact players, and Damian Swann, goes the other way.
Paul Johnson runs out on the field to call a timeout.
Yeah, he wants him to take a look at this to see if Justin Thomas actually got into the end zone. And I tell you what, it is a good risk-reward timeout.
Oh, absolutely. A heads-up timeout.
He just can't tell. There's so many bodies in there. Maybe this gives you a different look, but he just disappears, and it's not, the whistle's not blown. And all of a sudden, Swann comes in, he's fighting, he gets the ball out, and he's off and running. I think this one's going to stand.
I have seen some crazy things. How about the Jasper Sanks fumble years ago at the goal line in Atlanta?
Hey, you see Swann right there come in. He is finally gets the ball out. This is going to be a Georgia touchdown. That angle, you just lose Thomas, the quarterback.
There is no whistle.
And that's when you just have to hold on, when you don't hear the whistle, as tight to the football as you possibly can, because an instinctive player like Swann.
The ruling on the field stands.
Yeah. There's not enough video evidence to confirm it, but enough to where that play's going to stand. You lose Thomas, and the ball comes out. What a drive by Georgia Tech to come up this way.
Both teams have now fumbled a combined 3 times inside the 1-yard line. The point after is up and good. Damian Swann, a 99-yard scoop and score. The senior out of Atlanta, Georgia, knows all about this rivalry. Coming up with the play of the day to this point, as there is a lot of football left. 99 yards, 14-7 Dogs. Let's flash back to 1999. Quincy Carter, Joe Hamilton. After Georgia had a come-from-behind lead, Tech tied the score in a 6-yard touchdown pass. Then the Bulldogs marched to a 1st and goal at the Tech 2. With 20 seconds remaining, Jasper Sanks, well, he did fumble. That was the ruling on the field, although it looked like he didn't. As Jim Donnan ran the show, then Georgia Tech had a chance to win it in overtime, but the field goal is blocked. George Godsey comes up with the block. Georgia Tech has another opportunity, as that was 3rd down. And on 4th down, they split the uprights, and Georgia Tech wins 51-48. We show you that because Georgia Tech thought they might have had a touchdown, but Damian Swann picked the pocket of Justin Thomas and took it back the other way, 99 yards. How about this drive, though? I mean, this is 12 plays, 91 yards, 6 minutes and 18 seconds, and it ends in a fumble return for a touchdown.
And the majority of it done on the ground, and then to have it in that way, boy, that could be just demoralizing going forward for Georgia Tech. How do you respond?
Golden bringing it out. He is trapped at the 10-yard line after a 12-yard return by Tim Kimbrough. And let's go back to the play on the goal line one more time.
Yeah, Justin Thomas shows it to St. John Days, follows him into the hole, and just fighting and scratching, but a heads-up play by Swann, because you can see him come in, reach, fight, get the ball out, and then takes off running for the end zone. Of all the turnovers today, the 2 by Georgia and then that one the biggest, because it led directly to a touchdown and points on the board.
Paul Johnson asking for an explanation. I don't think there's much you can say about that at this point.
You just got to coach him up to hold on to the football. You're in a crowded area like that, you have to have 2 hands on the football.
Costa Vavlis, the injured Georgia special teams star, the senior out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. Well, Georgia Tech went 91 yards on that last drive. Ball is spotted at the, looks like close to the 12-yard line this time.
You can still see it's playing in the mind of Justin Thomas. He's got to shake it off.
Right, you had a great drive.
Yeah, you just got to go back and just try to repeat what you just did, but hold on to the football at the end of it.
By the way, that fumble recovery by Swann is the longest here at Georgia for a touchdown since October of 2003 when Sean Jones returned one for 92 yards against Tennessee.
Really wasn't touched. You see the injury just kind of goes down. Maybe the turf or something just gave way in his lower leg. Hopefully he'll be back. He's a big part of their special teams.
First down and 10, Georgia Tech. And Wissels will stop the play. Looks like some movement.
False start, and there'll be several of these for Georgia Tech.
False start. Number 84, the offense. 5-yard penalty. Thanks, first down.
It's tough when it happens, but when you're this deep on your own end of the field, boy, it just allows the defense to really get aggressive when it's 1st and 15 as opposed to the normal yardage, the normal down and distance.
Day stuffed. Loss of a yard. Lorenzo Carter, the first man there for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, because you can kind of go about your normal offensive way of thinking. 3 and 3 and maybe a 4-yard gain or somewhere in there. You pop one for 5 and you stay on schedule. But when you're 1st and 15, it totally throws you off schedule in Georgia Tech's type of offense.
Boy, no DeAndre Smelter either for the Jackets on the outside. They will throw it here and right through the hands of B.J. Bostic.
If he catches this one, Dave, he could run for a while. Found a nice void in the coverage. And watch here. He just got to hang on to this one. He's running. It's out in front. That one he catches. It's a foot race with Quincy Mauger. He's behind Herrera, the linebacker, but you got to hold on to that one. Or at least he was going to pick up the first down.
Fourth down. Pressure came from Leonard Floyd.
Forced him back the other way. The primary receiver was Waller off the front side. And the pressure forced Thomas to the backside. Really nobody there for him. And a tight man coverage by this Bulldog defense. Will force a punt. And we'll have some excellent field position in which to work in.
Rodwell stands about a yard shy of the back of the end zone. Gets the kickoff. It'll hit at the 42 and take a Georgia bounce back at the 37 where it is down. A 31-yard punt. 7:32 to go in the third quarter, and the Bulldogs with outstanding field position. Back to Athens in a moment. As the Vanderbilt head coach. That's all coming up.
Took Brett Bielema a long time.
It's not easy. Here's the toss to Nick Chubb, and he'll get 3 yards on the play. Boy, you just wonder about that fumble a moment ago by Thomas at the goal line and what it does to your psyche as a team. This is the first time Georgia's offense has been on the field.
Well, points are so hard to come by, or have been in this game, and then to have Georgia score in that manner in which you're getting ready to go in and take the lead, it just flips everything totally upside down.
And now Georgia with outstanding field position. They'll work out of the aisle, second down. They'll run with Chubb again, and he breaks one tackle, but he can't break the second stop.
Nice job of team tackling there.
Hankins comes in to clean up the tackle for the Yellow Jackets.
Hankins, a redshirt sophomore out of Birmingham, Alabama. His job there kind of filling and finishing things off.
3rd down and 6 from the 32.
They need a stop right here.
Mason looking to throw over the middle, a little bit high, and it should have been picked off. Oh my goodness. Devon Smith had it right in his grasp. There is a flag down. It looks like right at the line of scrimmage in front of the Georgia bench. And the way they're talking, maybe that's against Georgia here.
They're looking at Paul Johnson for a.
And he's going to say
an answer.
5 men in the backfield on the offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
4th and 6, and it's in that area. I guess they're going to bring out Marshall Morgan, where it's a long field goal attempt, but you also would entertain the thought with it being 4th and 6 of maybe going for it.
Boy, Smith could have had the pick, though. Thrown right to him.
Right in his chest.
So Marshall Morgan, season-long 53 last week against Charleston Southern. This from 49, out of the hold of Adam Erickson. Nathan Theus with the snap, and this one is blocked. Adam Gotsis with his 2nd block of the year. And Georgia Tech just reclaimed some momentum.
We talked about this game being evenly matched coming in from the top. Well, you block one of ours, we will do you the same. And Gotsis, the big guy in the middle, comes away with a block. Excellent penetration. The hand is up, the block, and Georgia Tech taking over with some pretty good field position.
Ninth-ranked Georgia leading 16th-ranked Georgia Tech by a touchdown. Time for us to take a look at today's Good Hands Play of the Day, brought to you by Allstate. Time for Scott Howard with the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network from IMG.
Man in motion. And Thomas will fake it and keep it and run in behind the block. No signal yet. He pushed towards the goal line. Georgia came out of the back with the football. Georgia's got the ball. They're running down the other way. Damian Swann. There's no whistle. Swann's going to go all the way, I think. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Damian Swann. They pulled it out of the back and went 97 yards with the football.
Great call by Scott Howard, but still not sure how this wasn't a whistle to stop his forward
progress. It stopped. He was going backwards. I'm in agreement with you. I thought maybe there should have been a whistle to stop play, but
there wasn't.
It is water under the bridge now.
Inside handoff, Zach Lasky still driving down to the 45 of Georgia. Nice run of 19 yards.
Boy, I like this senior from Peachtree City, Georgia. Stars Mill High School. Zach Lasky hits it like it's supposed to be hit. Watch him in the middle of this. Quickness right there. Nice block by Trey Braun, the left guard. That frees him up. But boy, does he hit it with some explosion and speed.
9 carries, 66 yards for Zach Lasky. 1st down and 10. This time, Georgia handles the dive play, only a yard. Let's go down to Laura.
Well, Dave, you were wondering about Justin Thomas's psyche after the goal line fumble. He was pacing the sideline by himself, shaking his head for a while. And then he went over to his receivers who were telling him to keep his head up. But he said, guys, it's all on me. And we know how much this means to both of these teams. It'll be interesting to see how he responds, Dave.
It'll be interesting because, you know, I don't think it'll shake him too bad because this offense is having success.
Right.
Toss sweep. That'll pick up 3.5 yards as Perkins dives inside the 40.
Well, if he could have kept his feet, Brian Chamberlain, the left tackle, in his 2nd year as a full-time starter in this offense, had thrown him a nice block in space, and he keeps his footing. He would have at the very least, picked up the 1st down.
So now it's 3rd down and 5 today on 3rd down. Georgia Tech 5 out of 12. They're the best in the country coming into this game on converting these situations. There's the pitch. Deion Hill trying to get the corner, and he does. First down, Georgia Tech.
Well, he has come up with some big plays on third downs for this Tech offense. Nice job. They close down on the fullback, Lasky. Take the pitch, take the quarterback away, and now it forces you to pitch it to Hill, and he responds with a first down for the Tech offense.
First down and 10. Thomas with the pitch to Hill. Inside the 20, down to the 17-yard line, and Thomas took a major hit but got the pitch away. 17 yards.
What a play. This is the type of offense that forces you to work your responsibilities. Anybody out of position, and you see right there, Swan takes one step out of position. The athletic ability of Thomas allows him to get it to Hill and picks up another first down.
That's taking one for the team right there.
You have pitch man responsibilities. You've got to stay out there if you're Damian Swan.
First down and 10. Inside the 10, down to the 9.
A little misdirection.
Deion Hill, he picks up 6.
Now they go misdirection and come back the other way. Watch him. Nice block by Perkins, the back. Another unselfish play. We saw Dennis Andrews throw a block on the outside earlier. And that's what I'm talking about. These A-backs for Georgia Tech have to be unselfish. When you don't have the football in your hands, you're asked to do some things and make plays in terms of blocking for the other guys.
Lasky, first down. It'll be first and goal, Georgia Tech from the 4. Ramik Wilson in on the tackle.
Now here's where you coach him up if you're Paul Johnson. Ball security. It's on everybody's mind right now. You have taken the ball and driven it down the field. We did it a drive or so ago. Now ball security. Hold on to the football.
.2:19 to go, third quarter. Lasky, left side, touchdown, Georgia Tech.
Lasky's 6th touchdown run of the season.
That is a big boy drive right there by the Yellow Jackets.
I just think with this pace, they get in the huddle, they call a play, they come right to the line of scrimmage, quick snap. The tempo has increased. I think Georgia defensively maybe getting a little winded trying to defend this offense that just keeps coming right at them.
Point after is up and good, and we are tied. Another outstanding drive for Georgia Tech. This one, however, does get into the end zone. 3:52 off the clock. 8 plays, 63 yards. By Ole Miss for 3 3/4. And Mississippi State just had enough in the tank. That Egg Bowl coming up later today at 3:30 Eastern Time. Georgia Tech in the third quarter has run 23 plays for 158 yards. Georgia has run 4 plays for 4 yards. Touchback out to the 25. We will go.
I think a little responsibility on the shoulders of Hudson Mason, Nick Chubb, and Sony Michel to get this thing going. And there's a guy that's been a little bit quiet today, and number 31, Chris Conley. Won't be surprised if he doesn't get himself involved in this thing offensively. Spread him out, throw it a little bit, throw it around a little bit, and he is outstanding in space with the ball in his hands.
Hudson Mason, 8 out of 10 today for 88 yards.
I don't know that Conley's been targeted today.
He has not. From the 25 on first down and 10. Little heat coming from Georgia Tech. Dump it over the middle to Nick Chubb, who have 10.5 yards. First down, Georgia. Neely in on the tackle.
Yeah, Mason just had such a good feel for the game. He wanted to go outside to Malcolm Mitchell on a hitch, It was covered up, and instead of coming back, he knew I'd stayed there. He stayed there a little bit too long. Let me just go ahead and check this down to Chubb, where I don't have to come backside and risk getting sacked.
Mason trying to set up a screen. Georgia Tech all over it. That's one of the things Ted Roof, defensive coordinator of Georgia Tech, was talking about. We all talk about Chubb and this and that, but he says you can't overlook this screen game by Georgia, so you know Tech was prepared.
Great pressure inside. And DJ White as well, covering up the screen of Chubb. Nowhere to go with the football, and we've run a few screens in this game, especially that first drive where they were very successful in doing so. Since then, Georgia Tech's been right there playing them well.
Going up top, looking deep, just out of the reach of Chris Conley.
It wouldn't be long before you try to go to one of your playmakers on the outside. That's a guy that can get deep in a hurry. He's their most dependable receiver. He's got a step, and it's just thrown just over the outstretched hands of Chris Conley. Chris Milton in pretty good coverage as well.
Probably one of the first times Georgia has gone deep down the field.
A big third down from a momentum standpoint for Georgia.
Passed, caught, and then it will go as a reception. Jonathan Rupp, first down, Georgia at the 48 of Georgia Tech.
Boy,
Gain of 16.
Pair of strong hands right here. You got a defensive back draped on you. I think he actually gets a hand on the football, and he thought he had it out. DJ White thought he actually had the ball out. Rump just holding on. And that inside slant, and picks up a first down to bail out this Georgia offense.
1:10 to go here in the third quarter. Nick Chubb trying to work that right side, gets about a yard on the play. First man there, Anthony Harrell.
Harrell's made a couple of good plays in this ball game. All over the field. Pretty much keeping Nick Chubb in check the second half of this one.
Over the middle. Pass is caught. Malcolm Mitchell to the 28-yard line. That's a 17-yard gain, and that is a nice catch.
And a nice throw. Watch the anticipation of this throw. He lets it go between two defenders, a safety and a linebacker. That is well thrown with tremendous accuracy from Hudson Mason.
Malcolm Mitchell came in averaging just 8 yards a catch on 21 grabs. Now has 5 for 46 today, and that will do it for the third quarter here in Athens. A quarter that was just dominated by Georgia Tech's offense. The only problem is they had a touchdown snatched right out of the hands of their quarterback. Damian Swan goes 99 the other way. But a blocked field goal gave some momentum back to the Jackets, and they would eventually put it in the end zone. We're all tied. We are tied at 14 here in Athens, Georgia. A crazy third quarter, where Georgia Tech had the football for 11:20 of that frame.
Remember that 14-minute drive I told you about?
I got to go downstairs, check with Laura.
Well, Dave, Jeremy Pruitt, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, talking to each one of his seniors on defense, saying this is the fourth quarter. This is why you've worked so hard for 4 years. Don't let me down. He said, keep your eyes in the right spots and keep your hands in the right spots. We've got this. Dave?
You know, Georgia certainly, Laura, disappointed in the way that Missouri ended up winning yesterday. Wildcat formation. Finish that story in just a second as Nick Chubb trying to get the edge, and he's got nowhere to run. He's knocked out of bounds. But don't tell me that this game doesn't mean something to the Bulldogs. Here's David Andrews, Georgia's center and the leader of this team.
Yeah, he's giving it to everybody. Defensive players, offensive guys. This shows you that there's still a lot on the line for David Andrews. A lot of football left to be played in today's ball game.
Second down from the 30. He'll swing it to Chubb. Makes a man miss, but then wrapped up as Georgia Tech starting to fly around the football.
Tremaine McNair with a nice open field tackle, and there's David Andrews. 39 consecutive starts at Georgia. That's the longest streak on the team. And mention the fact he followed a pretty good one in Ben Jones, who was a 4-year starter up front, and now the starting left guard for the Houston Texans.
Mason in trouble, dropped at the 31-yard line. Tremaine McNair with a sack, a loss of 2.
He had early pressure, and it comes right up the A-gap. Adam Goses right there. He forces him into the arms of McNair, but the instant pressure right in his face forces him to step up into the pocket, and then McNair finishes it off.
Now a 48-yard field goal attempt from Marshall Morgan. Had it blocked from 49 earlier. They'll try the fake. Plenty of room to run. Morgan turns the corner. He's to the 10. Knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
Reggie Davis throws the block on Jamal Golden that sets free the kicker, Marshall Morgan. What a flip as well by the holder, Adam Erickson. And it catches Morgan right in stride. Watch this, right out in front. And a nice block by Jay Rome, the tight end, who is the guy, actually not Davis, but Jay Rome frees up Marshall Morgan for the first down. Watch 87. This is the block that allows Marshall Morgan to pick up the first down.
28-yard gain out of the eye. Nick Chubb stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
The Tech needs another one of those bend but don't breaks down here. And if you're Mark Richt, Dave, you're preaching the same message that Paul Johnson preached. Hey, ball security, hold on to the football.
3 fumbles at the 1-yard line today. 2 by Georgia, 1 by Georgia Tech.
Same message being passed.
They'll throw it in the end zone. Blazevich, incomplete, but a flag in the end zone.
Some pass interference here, or a hold working against Jeb Blazevich.
Tyler McCourty's looked like the culprit defensively.
Holding of an eligible receiver on the pass across the line of scrimmage. That will take the ball half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And Tyler McCourty, he's played an outstanding football game, but there gets caught working against one of the better young tight ends in the country in Jeb Blazevich. Excellent play fake by Hudson Mason. Drew everybody up. That gave Blazevich the room needed, but McCourty is able to knock the ball out of there.
First and goal. Toss sweep, Chubb trying to get the corner. Can't do it. DJ White pushes him out of bounds. A loss of a yard.
He is not a big guy. 5'8", 188 pounds. 5'11", 188 pounds. But when he shows up, excellent tackler in the open field, because he's been one-on-one with Nick Chubb on a couple of occasions, and each one he has responded. Stingy defensively down here.
Chubb stuffed again.
Guess who comes from under the bottom of the pile? DJ White working in there. Dominique Noble in there as well.
Anthony Harrell, out of Tampa, getting his nose in there. It is a team effort. And that is what Ted Roof says. The strength of this defense is the strength of the team. 3rd and goal. Lofting it up, looking for Bennett, incomplete. No flags.
Hey, Bennett just lost his footing and really couldn't time his jump. As he's trying to jump to make an effort to catch this ball, he just loses his footing. Watch him right here, just trying to time it, gets his feet tangled up and goes down. And Lynn Griffin right there in coverage, making it a tough throw for Hudson Mason. And once again, bend but don't break defensively for Georgia Tech.
A 19-yard try. Marshall Morgan, good clean snap, hold is good, and he will split the uprights. So Georgia picks up the 3. The drive kept alive. 28-yard fake, and Marshall Morgan picks up the 1st down. But Georgia Tech's defense stands tall inside the 5. 3-point game in Athens. Been another crazy day between Georgia and Georgia Tech. It started with Nick Chubb just trying to launch from the 1, fumbled the football. Then Georgia would answer back with a blocked field goal, get a little momentum on their side. But the end result is Sony Michel would fumble into the end zone, a touchback. Georgia Tech dodges one there. But then Georgia Tech returns the favor. Still not sure how that wasn't blown dead, but Damian Swan says, I'll take it, and go back 99 yards. Then a blocked field goal would set up Georgia Tech on a nice drive. Gotsis got that one, and the Jackets would stick it in the end zone. After that block field goal, Georgia just put 3 on the board by Marshall Morgan from 19 yards out. By the way, Andre, that fake field goal a moment ago by Marshall Morgan was the first executed fake field goal for Georgia since November of '98 against Auburn. That's how long it had been.
Well, you can do that when you have an athlete that's a kicker. Marshall Morgan certainly qualifies because he took it, didn't take a misstep, and was around the end with that block from Jay Rome on his way to a 1st down.
Morgan will kick it off. Jamal Golden. Actually taken by Georgia Tech. Will have it out at the 20-yard line. Time for us to get to the studio and Peter Burns.
All right, guys. Kyle Bolin in for the injured Reggie Bonifon. That game gets it to Devontae Parker for another touchdown. He's got 4 catches, 109 yards. They're up 28-20. And it looks like South Carolina's streak might end 28-10. Sends it over South Carolina.
Thank you, Peter. Georgia Tech at the 20-yard line, looking 1st and 10. St. John Days, the fullback, fake it to him, and Thomas will keep it out to the 25-yard line.
I tell you, Thomas is so good in this offense. I thought Days had the football and lost it in there for a second, and so did Georgia. Then all of a sudden they see Thomas still running on his way to about 5 yards.
Georgia Tech today on the ground has rushed for 281 yards. They've outgained Georgia overall, 345 to 303. Days breaks 1 tackle, picks up the 1st down to the 32-yard line. Amarlo Herrera now with 14 tackles in this game. A 7-yard gain, though, as Days will limp off the field.
And they've got a pretty good replacement coming in, and Zach Lasky, the other fullback, that's having a nice afternoon as well. Already a touchdown run for Lasky.
Only 2 passes this half for Georgia Tech. It has been the ground and pound.
It's actually Matt Connors coming in.
Connors had that kick return a moment ago. But they'll go the other way with Dennis Andrews. And Andrews out to the 39-yard line. That's 7 yards. Wilson makes the tackle. He now has 13 stops today.
You just really can't say enough about the performance of guys in space without the ball in their hands. You got edge blockers and Andrews and Zenon and all these guys, Perkins, throwing blocks. That's opening it up for the ball carriers to actually gain yards.
Lasky. He'll be right at the first down line.
Well, I think he's going to have enough for a first down here. It's the unselfish play in space by the receivers and these A-backs that don't have the ball, allowing for some chunk plays by Georgia Tech.
Lasky's had a big-time performance here in the second half. 7 carries, 64 yards. First down and 10. Lasky to the 45-yard line. Stop there. Ramik Wilson with another tackle. Boy, you just wonder how much this game, this offense is wearing down this Georgia defense right now.
I mean, coming right at them. And we talked about the tempo change. Even though they're huddling, it's not going to be your traditional tempo. But they get in the huddle, they call it, they come right to the line of scrimmage, and you're left to really sort out where they are. By the time you do, they've already snapped the ball and they're coming at you.
Thomas, there's the pitch. Deion Hill, he's to the 40-yard line. Wilson chases him down, but that's 15 more yards for the Jackets.
Keep an eye on number 3. Watch the play of Dennis Andrews. Right about here, freeze it. With that block right in there with 3 is the block that really allows for Perkins to get the edge. Watch 3, that one right there, that block, freeze it. That one right in the inside is the block that allows Perkins to get outside and pick up the first down. Can't say enough about the unselfish play of guys without the football in their hands.
Leonard Floyd, super talented outside linebacker, still down on the ground. Ron Corson, head of the training department here at Georgia, on his right shoulder, helping him up. 8-17. It has just been a grind for this Georgia defense here in the second half. We'll step aside for a moment. Return to Athens.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands?
Senior day here in Athens. 27 Georgia seniors being honored before the game, and certainly an emotional day for one of them right there, Mr. Chris Conley. 19 career touchdown receptions. Hudson Mason, boy, you want to talk about a guy who waited his turn. Playing behind Aaron Murray, the record-setting quarterback, now with the Kansas City Chiefs. Ending it here in the regular season between the hedges, and another one that's going to come down to the wire. 17-14, Georgia out in front. Georgia Tech has just, in terms of time of possession and running the football, has owned the second half.
52 carries, 317 on the ground, and 8 different ball carriers.
Zach Lasky picks up 7 more. Wilson now with 15 tackles on the day.
And we talked about that 14-minute drive that Paul Johnson had when he was coaching at Navy. I was a part of that game. They can chew it up. They've already had a drive earlier in this game that went for over 11 minutes. And they could basically chew up this 7.5 minutes left and leave Georgia with very little time. But it's essential that they get some points themselves after doing so. This will be a fantastic finish.
Second down. Another dive play to Lasky. This time he is stuffed. Wilson leading the charge for the Dogs. Gain of only a 1. Ray Drew also in on the action.
Days has not been back in after he limped off, and he's turned it over to Connors and Lasky. Power back of the 3 of them, St. John Days.
You think you're in 4-down territory here?
I think definitely you're in 4-down territory.
There is St. John Days. He's a spectator at the moment. Lasky lined up behind Thomas. Paul Johnson wants a timeout.
He doesn't like whatever Justin Thomas was checking to. He didn't like it.
We'll take the timeout with him back to Athens. Big third down coming up for the Jackets. You by Belk. Ray Drew on senior day having a big time afternoon of it. Not only with 7 tackles, but a blocked field goal as well. Damian Swan, another Georgia senior, with a huge play. The 99-yard fumble return that will live in Georgia lore forever, especially if the Dogs can hold on here. But a big third down coming up. Third down and 2.
Well, you got to stop them 2 plays in a row, because I got to believe Paul Johnson going to go for it if they come up short here.
Lasky bobbled the football and still has the wits about him to pick up the first down.
Just has a knack for finding space along that offensive line. It was designed to go inside. Watch him after the bobble. He knows it's no longer there, but he gets just a jump step to get right back outside and then vertical to pick up the first down.
Oh, man.
I like this kid, Zach Lasky.
First down and 10. 10th play of the drive coming up. Dennis Andrews near the first down marker. Inside the 20. He's down to the 18-yard line. That'll be a gain of 9. It is real close to that first down line.
Yeah. Once again, Perkins and Darren Waller on the outside, guys without the ball in their hands, doing work to allow Andrews to turn the corner and pick up about 9 yards. Just love the unselfish play. That's playing as a team.
Lasky on the dive inside the 15, first down after a gain of 4.
You know, when we talked to Paul Johnson this week, told us, you know, I've had more talented teams, but this is the best team that I've had at Georgia Tech, because everybody knows their responsibilities. They're willing to do the dirty work when they don't have the ball in their hands, and I think it's on display right before you. And this is what we talked about earlier as well, the 2 guys in the middle of this offensive attack, Days and Lasky. Those are the afternoons that they put together. When those 2 are going, it's a long day defensively for you.
I mean, how frustrating must this be for the Georgia bench? Toss sweep coming near side. Deion Hill inside the 10. He's down to the 7-yard line. He picks up another 7 yards.
Nice job by Shaq Mason, the right guard. Watch number 70. He's going to pull out and around right in here. Going to get a nice block right there on Tim Kimbrough, the linebacker, working from inside out. Wasn't a knockout block, but just enough to shield him. Allow his ball carrier to pick up about 6 yards. That's the best offensive lineman on the team right there. Number 70, big Shaq Mason.
Lasky right side, breaks a tackle. Touchdown, Georgia Tech from 8 yards away, and the Jackets have the lead.
Boy, a down block by the tackle. 75, Aaron Joe. They pull the guard, Shaq Mason. It's so clean that he doesn't even have to block anybody for Zach Lasky. And you talk about a lot of plays defensively for Georgia, starting to wear down a little bit on that side of the football.
Another time-consuming drive for Georgia Tech. They just grind it down the field. Point after is good. 13 plays, 80 yards. 6:51 off the clock. Zach Lasky with 2 touchdowns today, 7 on the season. Well, back in 2008, Georgia and Georgia Tech squaring up. Very similar type of setting. Both had nice rankings coming into the game. Paul Johnson's first season at the helm of Georgia Tech. Matthew Stafford running the show, but the Jackets would use a dominating run game. Jonathan Dwyer had 144 yards. Roddy Jones had a day of 214 and a couple of touchdowns as Georgia Tech escaped Athens 45-42. It's the only time that Mark Richt has lost to Georgia Tech in his tenure here at Georgia. Matter of fact, it is the only non-conference loss under Mark Richt for the Dogs in Sanford Stadium. He is 39-1 against non-SEC foes.
Take something special right now because Tech's playing well on both sides of the football.
Short kick. Georgia Tech has it. They scoop it up, or did it hit out of bounds? They're going to say Georgia Tech will.
Can't advance it. They're going to say he's recovered it right around the 26, 27-yard line, and Georgia just went to sleep special teams wise.
Lawrence Austin came up with the football for Georgia Tech.
I don't know why Quavon Hicks didn't feel this ball. Maybe he thought someone was coming from behind, but he just leaves it, and it's just sitting there. Oh, my goodness. Both Jay Rome and Quavon Hicks did not feel the football. It's right there. And Lawrence Austin, the defensive back, playing on special teams, comes up with a recovery.
What a mental meltdown. And now Georgia Tech with 4:22 will try to run this thing out.
When you got a tired defense, guys are a little bit angry, getting a little chippy in there. I tell you what, the way they have operated offensively, this is a tough chore for Georgia going forward. At some point here, Mark Richt's going to have to start using some of these timeouts the way Paul Johnson operates offensively, just to save himself some time.
Our officials, there have been some little chip shots going on amongst these two clubs here the last couple of plays, and our officiating crew just trying to get everybody together. But Austin still celebrating just a meltdown. Heck of a play to come up with the football. But look at the second half play selection. First of all, 37 plays for Georgia Tech here in the second half.
Well, Ray Rachelski, the special teams coordinator, with that, dialing up that one.
Lasky, he's inside the 20, close to the 15-yard line. 8 more yards.
There he is again. I mean, when he hits it, and they're going right behind Shaq Mason. Can't say enough about the job that he's done. The 3-year starter at right guard, an All-American candidate, first team All-ACC last year, and he has the respect of everybody they play against. We talked to the Georgia coaches, and Jeremy Pruitt singled out Shaq Mason and his job along the offensive line.
I mean, stating the obvious here, but Georgia's got to hold this Georgia Tech team to a field goal if they can't get the football back some other way. But it is timeout time for the Bulldogs. They will spin one here with 2:59 on the clock. Don't forget, coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern, Tennessee's push for a postseason bowl game will continue against their in-state rivals, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Presented by Regions Bank. It's all coming up on the SEC ESPN Network and the Watch ESPN app. Can Butch Jones get this team over the hump and into a bowl game? We'll find out beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern today. Of course, Missouri, congrats to the Tigers. Go 7-1 in SEC play. Big win yesterday at home against Arkansas. They'll move on to the SEC title game. And of course, this is just one of 4 ACC-SEC matchups going on today in rivalry weekend. And coming up tonight at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN, it'll be Auburn and Alabama. Don't forget, right here on the SEC Network, you can join Paul Feinbaum as he takes calls during the game. That should be quite interesting. Boy, look at the time of possession for Georgia Tech this season.
I misspoke earlier. It was actually
2 minutes better today than it is for their average.
11 minutes of time of possession in the third quarter rather than an 11-minute drive. But I've seen them do it on a few occasions. This offense of Paul Johnson's.
Thomas. He's tripped up back at the 18-yard line. That'll be a loss of 3.5 yards. And another timeout taken by Georgia.
It's just designed, Dave, to kind of extend the play where it's longer rather than a quick hitter inside and a stop. You're just trying to run some clock now by getting Justin Thomas outside along the edges. And I've said many times that I think Paul Johnson's one of, if not the best, one of the best in-game coaches in terms of adjustments and what he does offensively. A lot of respect for him.
Don't forget this Georgia Tech team heading to the ACC championship game to take on Florida State. Paul Johnson quick to remind us in our meetings that he's 2-1 against Florida State. Last met back at that 2012 championship game. Florida State won that one 21-15.
He was letting us know he was not going to be intimidated by the Seminoles.
I went down and talked to Coach Johnson for the game today. We like to go down the field before games, and he just had that look on his face, like, you know what? I mean, I feel pretty good about where we are right now.
I know something you don't know.
Yeah,
that kind of look. Excellent football coach right there, ladies and gentlemen.
431 on the ground, total yards for Georgia Tech on the ground. They're up to 367. Third down. Thomas. Lost the football. Georgia has it. Amarlo Herrera.
The one thing that you couldn't have happen with 2:41 on the clock and Georgia still left with a timeout. Ball security in these types of situations, and Justin Thomas on 2 occasions has put it on the ground. Right there, he is faking the pass and really no need to just throw it away.
There is life in Sanford Stadium for the Bulldogs. He just tried.
He's trying to fake the defender into the air. Amarlo Herrera, who didn't fall for the fake because there's no receiver in that area. But oh boy, Georgia Tech defensively going to be asked. They got a tall order here.
One timeout for the Bulldogs, even in the turnover department today. Thomas had the fumble at the goal line that went back 99 yards, and now the fumble that sets up Georgia at the 31-yard line.
And Hudson Mason has been in this situation before, and I'm thinking Paul Johnson may be asking the officials here, was Thomas's arm going forward?
Ruling on the field was a fumble. Head coach from Georgia Tech has challenged that ruling. Previous play is under further review.
Yeah, he wants to know if Justin Thomas's arm is going forward when he lost the football.
It looks like
based on that look,
it looks like he was past the point of throwing the football.
Yeah, where it had already started to regather. It's close. I just don't see a receiver out there. Well, actually, there's Waller in that area. This would be big if it's reversed. You can certainly make a case for it.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. Fumble intended by Georgia. Georgia Tech is charged to timeout. They will have 1 timeout remaining.
Pretty obvious to our replay officials that it was a fumble, as that ruling came back quickly.
Boy, a frustrated Thomas can only watch now. Here's Georgia's offense. They have only run 19 plays in the second half. Georgia Tech over 40. Mason right through the hands. That was looking for Malcolm Mitchell. Remember last year, Mason was the starter, his first career start against Georgia Tech because Aaron Murray got hurt against Auburn, tore his ACL, rallied Georgia from 20 down to pick up the win.
In that game, he completed 22 passes for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Mason steps up over the middle. Pass is caught. Chris Conley with a reception, a gain of 19. And Georgia in right at midfield.
Yeah, been quiet all day. The playmakers, when you need them the most, they find a way to involve themselves in a game, and that's Chris Conley.
Hand it off to Sony Michel. Sony inside the 35-yard line, or 45-yard line. Give him 7. .207, 206 to play in this one. Near side. First down, Georgia. Malcolm Mitchell picks up 7.
DJ White there as well, helping to escort Malcolm Mitchell down, but he was going for the strip, trying to jar the ball loose. It's a good young cornerback here in DJ White.
Mason, nowhere to go. Dumps it off to Blazevich, and he is tossed to the turf by DJ White. Gain of 5.
That looked close to whether Mason was across the line of scrimmage.
Remember, Georgia with only 1 timeout left. Both teams with just a single timeout. 90 seconds to play. Sony Michel has a hole. He's to the 21. That'll stop it for a moment after a gain of 11.
The clock will stop because of the first down, and keep in mind they need a touchdown. They have to get into the end zone. With a minute 20 seconds left in this ball game, a field goal will do nothing for Georgia.
Here comes some pressure. Mason to the end zone looking for Bennett. It's incomplete.
And Georgia Tech playing some man-to-man and bringing pressure on Hudson Mason just about every down. And that's not kind of the MO of Ted Roof. He likes to play a lot of zone coverage, but here he is heating up the kitchen of Hudson Mason, forcing him to make quick decisions.
Mason now 15 of 22, 165.
Here it comes again. See the pressure coming from the top.
Mason hit, passes caught. Conley down to the 5. It'll be first and goal, Georgia, under a minute to go.
They still have the timeout, so there is no need to rush anything. Plenty of time for Georgia offensively. Justin Thomas cannot even watch.
Pressure again. Mason will throw it away. Souvenir for the Jackets and their fans.
No, she didn't want it. She threw it right back into the field of play. If they were a Yellow Jacket throwing it, she may have kept it. But here comes the pressure from the outside. And Mason standing right in there, finding Chris Conley, who has really responded here in the 4th quarter.
Thomas can't even watch. His 2 fumbles today. One resulted in a 99-yard touchdown for Georgia. We'll see how this one plays out. 10th play of the drive. Mason over the middle. Is it intercepted? Caught it. Oh, my goodness, what a catch by Conley. Clock is ticking.
There's really no need to rush. They have the timeout if they want it. No need to rush here.
Boy, the receiver, the defender, the ball all hit at the same time. Let's see if Conley did come up with that catch.
Talk about stepping up when you need it. Conley takes a blow and a shot. I don't know if that ball touched the ground, and then he reaches back to gather it. This may give us an excellent look at it. I think this is going to be an incomplete pass.
Well, that's the bad news for Georgia. The good news is they'll put some time back on the clock if it is incomplete.
Yeah, that ball touches the ground. Rayshawn Neely has played an outstanding game. He's there to make the hit, along with Isaiah Johnson, who equally as well has played an outstanding ball game. And I think this is a catch and a drop, and this will back Georgia up a little bit. Then you have to be ready to play, unless you're going to take that time out. So almost having, in case it's ruled a catch, you got to have a play called for the 2-yard line, and then if it goes back, you got to have a play ready for where it goes back to the original line of scrimmage. And there, I think it's on the ground clearly. Look at that. That is on the ground. The nose of the football touches.
But now you got to reset the clock, get the original line of scrimmage back.
I think that may be what's taking a little time here to make sure that all those factors are back and in place. What a game.
I mean, it is.
What a game.
It's incredible. 22 of the last 28 games in this series have been decided by 2 scores or less. Last year went to 2 overtimes. Georgia won it 41-34. And here's Matt Moore to fill us in on all the details.
After further review, ruling is the pass was incomplete. The ball will be returned to the 5-yard line, where it will be 3rd down and goal. Please reset the game clock to 38 seconds.
You can see here it's a heck of an effort by Chris Conley, but the nose of the football right there just touches. And I think that is the correct call by the officials. Just a difference in 3 yards.
3rd and goal from the 5. They'll hand it off. Chubb is at the 5. He's down to the 3.
Nice job again by Isaiah Johnson, the safety, coming up and tackling Nick Chubb.
It'll be 4th down and goal.
Yeah, this is where I think he may have to take the time out.
4th down and ball game is what it is. Oh my goodness.
It's actually Georgia Tech that takes the time out to make sure they have everything buttoned up defensively.
Let's go back to the Thomas fumble. This is how Georgia got the football back. The Jackets were in field goal range.
He just pump fakes, tries to pump Herrera into the air, and it comes out. Runner's fighting for it. That's just tough.
Herrera had that fumble recovery a moment ago of the Thomas pump fake, but Herrera with 19 tackles today.
This could essentially be 14 points lost on turnovers by Justin Thomas. And you hate to pin it on him, but loses the fumble going in to Damian Swan. Loses the fumble there on a pump fake, and he is just hoping that his defense can hold up right now.
It is 4th down and goal. 22 seconds, no timeouts for Georgia. This is it right here. Chris Conley, touchdown, Georgia. Malcolm Mitchell, touchdown, Georgia. What a series for the Dogs.
Missed the roll. They basically give Hudson Mason a sprint out option. Both guys, Bennett as well as Mitchell, going out routes, and Mitchell was the guy that came open cleanly.
Malcolm Mitchell has been fighting through injuries.
What a call by Mike Bobo as well in this drive to really march down the field, mixing the run and the pass. And there on a 4th down, he has the confidence in Hudson Mason to get it done, and he does, to the junior wide receiver Malcolm Mitchell.
You think about what he's been through, that young man. A couple of serious knee injuries. Last season in the opener against Clemson, blew out his knee, missed the whole year. Tried to get back this year. The day before practice, re-injured the knee and missed a bunch of time, and got back about a month ago, and boy, are they glad to have Mr. Mitchell back on the field. What a story. That'll be our Capital One Cup impact performance.
That's the rollout. They protected well. Chubb as well in protecting, giving Mason enough time, and what a throw and catch. Right there, delivering the football in time, because if he is just a little bit late with it, Chris Milton can make a play. But he's on time and allows the junior receiver, Malcolm Mitchell, to be the hero in this one.
Boy, and a frustrated Justin Thomas. Only 18 seconds to go. Hudson Mason to Malcolm Mitchell. Short kick. Out to the 43-yard line. Taken by Anthony Harrell. You're watching SEC Network Football presented by Allstate. As Georgia Tech with 13 seconds to go, 1st down and 10, but a long way to go. Can they pick up enough to get into field goal range?
This takes one big play and to get out of bounds.
Thomas, he's going to try to run, has the 1st down. Now we'll get out of bounds, and there are 5 seconds left. Make it 4, 21-yard pickup on the play.
Now you really have to emphasize to Justin Thomas that if it's going to be a one-play deal, I think Paul Johnson may be thinking about taking a field goal attempt right now. Yeah, don't mess around with it and trying to drop back and get a play off real quick. It's actually 4 seconds left. They're going to try the field goal attempt right now. 53 yards.
He has missed from 51 time this year. His long on the year is 46.
And Mark Richt going to make him think about it a little bit longer.
Butker earlier today had one blocked by Ray Drew. That was from 37 yards away. Harrison missed from 52 against Duke earlier this year. This one will be from 53. Nice scramble by Thomas to pick up the yardage to at least let him get in some field goal range.
Yeah. Paul Johnson has a lot of confidence in Harrison Butker. And he feels like, you know, he was going to have an All-American type season this year. But 10 of 16 coming in. He's had one block today. He could fix all that right now with a 53-yarder for Georgia Tech to send it into overtime.
Here we go. The crowd will tell you the story. He got it! 53 yards! We are headed to overtime.
Oh, my. What a kick by Harrison Butker. The snap was perfect. The hold was perfect. And he nails it right down the gut to send it to overtime. Oh, my. Takes three components, the snap, the hole, and the kick. All three work in sync. It is right down the middle and long enough. Just enough.
That would have been good from 53 and a half. And we're about to see the first overtime game in the history of Sanford Stadium. Well, it's appropriate. They went to double overtime a year ago in Atlanta, GA.
Yeah, we talked about just how evenly matched both these two teams were coming in. Both in the top 15 in both rushing and scoring points in the nation. And they have, this is true rivalry game right here. If there's a definition for it, well, you can just pull this one up.
The happiest man in the entire state right now has to be Justin Thomas.
No doubt about it. All you want is another opportunity to right a wrong. And he's going to get that opportunity in this one.
And how about his scramble to pick up the 21 yards, got him in field goal range.
And credit Paul Johnson as well. He didn't try to squeeze out another play. He had enough belief in his kicker, Butker, to kick it right now.
Let's go back and look at this kick again. I really think this kick made it by
It
inches.
barely makes it.
I mean, inches.
Barely makes it over the crossbar. It's dead center in the middle, but it barely makes it over.
Unreal how this has played out. We've had 3 fumbles at the 1-yard line today. 2 by Georgia, 1 by Georgia Tech. We've had a couple of field goals blocked in this game.
What a game. What a game.
And then the pump fake by Thomas, and the ball slips out of his hand. That gives the ball back to Georgia. They take advantage and score with 18 seconds left on a pass from Hudson Mason to Malcolm Mitchell, and now we're going to overtime. Just a crazy, crazy day in Athens. 2 9-win teams. Andre, you got to go back to 1942 for the most combined wins in this series. Georgia was ranked 5th. Georgia Tech was ranked 2nd. Georgia would win that game. They'd go on to win the national title. Frank Sinkwich won the Heisman.
I think Georgia wins the toss. They're going to play defense first.
Play defense first. Georgia Tech's ball. First down.
Now, that's what you do in college overtime so that you know exactly what you have to get done. Allow Georgia Tech, if it's a field goal, then you know that at least matches, get you into double overtime, or you score the touchdown and win the football game.
Here's the fumble that set up Georgia for their come-from-behind drive. Hudson Mason throwing in the end zone. Malcolm Mitchell takes a shot, holds on. Georgia had the lead by 3. And then just seconds ago, Harrison Butker with the 53-yard field goal.
And throw in a run of about 21 yards by Justin Thomas to get Harrison Butker into field goal range. And it was just enough. If it were 20 yards, the game would be over.
Lasky, dive play again. That has been so hard for Georgia to stop today. Picks up 7. Carter with the tackle.
Boy, he has been the one constant in Georgia Tech's offense throughout the afternoon. St. John Days started it, had a nice afternoon, but he gave way to Zach Lasky after he limped off, and they have not missed a beat. And that's with their playmaker on the outside as well, DeAndre Smelter, out of this ball game.
Lasky cuts it to the outside. He'll have the first down at the 11. Another gain of 7.
I'll tell you what, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep giving it to him. They're running right behind Freddie Burton, the center, the redshirt sophomore, and then the senior and Shaq Mason, the right guard. And I keep talking about it because it's so good. Watching those two operate up front, why go away from them? Two grown men on the offensive line for Georgia Tech.
There's the pitch. Perkins, he's to the 5 and out of bounds. Dominic Sanders.
When you get everybody crashing down inside, watch everybody. Drew, Carter, they're all crashing inside. That's the tail sign for Justin Thomas to show it, pull it, and work the edges with Perkins, who's had a nice game of his own. Ball security.
They can pick up a first down inside the 2. Ball sits at the 4. Handoff, Lasky. He is stuffed. Did he get enough forward progress for the first down? Ray Drew there, the first man on the spot. Let's see where the spot is.
Sees Lasky put both hands on the football.
Yes,
you think that was talked about a little bit by Paul Johnson? In the crowded area, put both hands on the ball.
He did not pick up the first down, so it'll be 3rd and short from just outside of the 2.
I think field goals out of the equation right now for Paul Johnson. I think this is if he happens to come up short, they would go for it again on 4th down. With this running attack, I certainly would.
Lasky driving to the end zone, touchdown, Georgia Tech. His 3rd today.
The way he has stepped in for St. John Days and performed, I think he's their MVP, no doubt about it. Right here, they get Floyd up into the air. You have to play leverage. You cannot give up space. You've got to get your pad level low. You go high, it makes it an easy block for Aaron Joe, the right tackle, and Shaq Mason to get push.
Blocked. Blocked.
Ray Drew again.
What a day for the senior out of Thomasville, Georgia. His 2nd block kick of the day, and he has 9 tackles as well.
What a way to go out on in your last ball game as a senior, but Ray Drew gets pushed, and he gets it working against Shaq Mason to that side.
That's just some want-to.
Yep, that's just determination, not quitting on any play whatsoever in a ball game. And that could end up being the deciding factor in the ball game for Georgia.
Dogs have the football at the 25-yard line. First overtime. Here's Chubb. Hit right at the 20. Boy, good lick coming from Quayshawn Neely. A gain of 5 for Nick Chubb, who has been... Nick Chubb at 117 yards at halftime, Andre. He now has 128 for the day.
Yeah, he's been quiet in the second half. A lot of it's been Sony Michel getting some time, but they have really focused in on Nick Chubb here in the second half.
Chubb. Boy, stuffed. He might have even lost a yard.
Yeah, nowhere to go with Keyshawn Freeman, the true freshman. He's their best pass rusher, but he has done an outstanding job in holding the point of attack. He's only 235 pounds or so, playing that left end spot for Georgia Tech, but boy, is he a playmaker.
Pass caught, first down Georgia. That one goes to Chris Conley, a gain of 10.
Yeah, Chris Milton just didn't react fast enough. He's in position to make a play, but then Conley comes open, does not react up fast enough, and that's the first down that Georgia needed to keep this game going.
Chubb stuffed again. Boy, Georgia just can't get the edge on these run plays.
Boy, and I tell you what, Keyshawn Freeman was being blocked by Jeb Blazevich, the tight end on the outside. Kind of rotated around or gave him a spin move and then fell right back into the play. Watch the edge. And you see Freeman out of position. He rotates around, kind of spins back inside, and is right there to bring down Nick Chubb.
2nd down and goal. Passes intercepted. Georgia Tech wins it. DJ White with his 4th pick of the year, but the biggest one of 2014 for the Jackets.
Boy, he baits Hudson Mason into this throw. Stared it down a little bit too long, Dave. Made it look like it was open, baited him into the throw, and then stepped right in front of it. They make everyone think Nick Chubb. He steps in there. Nice job as well by Tremaine McNair to really close down the throwing lane. Gives him a big body in front. And then there, beating him to the football and getting out in front is DJ White, who has had an outstanding football game for Georgia Tech. Well, that is tough when you're trying to make that throw and you're forcing it, because McNair takes away the throwing lane, and then it made it easy for White, who had beaten Chris Connolly inside on the slant route.
DJ White has been a stud defensively this year, making play after play, and he does it again. He has been their big play guy in the secondary, and none bigger than that as Georgia Tech picks up their 10th win of the season. Georgia loses for the 3rd time. My goodness, what a game in Athens. And it snaps a 4-game losing skid for Georgia Tech. They had lost 12 of 13. Their only win was back in 2008 here in Athens. As a matter of fact, it is only the 2nd non-conference loss at home for Mark Richt. He is now 39-2.
As you mentioned, you know who's breathing a sigh of relief right now? Justin Thomas, because he got a second chance at it, and then his defense stepped up and made the game-winning play, or sealed this ball game with that DJ White interception. He ran the option and that attack offensively to perfection.
Let's go downstairs to Laura.
Thanks, Dave. Coach, always a crazy game in this rivalry, but this one probably will make some special memories for you. How about DJ White's interception there?
What a play. He's done that all year. I couldn't be proud of our kids. They're so resilient. They just fight back and fight back.
You mentioned that resiliency. Justin Thomas, a couple of tough moments today, and his defense was able to pick him up. Did you say anything to him? Did he say anything to you there in the final moment?
You just got to forget it and move on. I mean, without the two, it doesn't have to be close. But he's helped us win all year, and he helped us there score at the end. So I love Justin Thomas.
You haven't beat Georgia since 2008. How does this one feel?
Oh, it feels great. I'm actually 2-2 here in Athens.
All right, you're also 2-1 against Florida State. You head into the ACC championship game, turning your attention to the Seminoles. What kind of momentum will you bring into that game?
You know, we're going to enjoy this thing tonight. We'll get started on Florida State tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He said it, 2-2 here in Athens. With a job.
I'm proud to say it.
He can take a deep breath. They're heading home winners today. What a game in Athens. Justin Thomas and company survive a thriller. 30-24 our score. Don't forget, coming up next, it's SEC Now. For Andre Ware, Laura Rutledge, the rest of our crew, I'm Dave Neal saying so long from Athens, Georgia. What a game. Just one more. Good old clean fashion hate.